Let's pray. Almighty God, we humbly beseech you to bless this, our council, and all who are engaged in the work of local government in our city. Grant that we may order all things in wisdom, righteousness, and peace to the honor of your name and the good of your people who dwell in this city. Amen. Good afternoon, Deputy Mayor, Acting Town Clerk, fellow councillors, management, and members of the Fourth Estate. It's good to have you here with us this afternoon. Today, I believe, marks almost 3 years since we were elected, and so we are well past the halfway mark. There's much undone, much still to be done by us all. I want to touch on three things this afternoon briefly. The first is to come back to something which has been a persistent theme, I believe, of all of us, but particularly myself, since first being elected 3 years ago, and that was the need to clean up our city. I think that we've made substantial progress in that regard, but I do fear that we are slipping back. I've been in discussions with Superintendent Ndlovu, our Director of Cleansing, who's been doing a magnificent job with his team. There's no doubt that they are committed, they are energetic, and they're doing their best. But And let me also say, I want to thank councillors. I know that most of you have got engaged in cleaning exercises with people in your wards, and I commend that servant leadership and what you've done to create a new spirit in our council. But the problem is I see us slipping back. I do see, as I drive around the city, litter, and I realise that we have a major challenge. And I might sound like a stuck record on this, but let me act as a stuck record. This is a huge challenge which begins with each one of us. None of us are exempt. I'm not exempt as mayor to clean up the litter I see. The deputy mayor isn't exempt. The town clerk isn't exempt. There's no such thing as excluded categories in our society not responsible for tidying up and providing leadership. And it starts with us and our leadership. But it also, there's also a burden which rests on residents and businesses. Can you imagine if every single household cleaned up outside their house? Even the mess that they're not responsible for. The ditches outside their house. Can you imagine if every business in our city cleaned up outside and in the alleyway? It would completely transform our city. It would lessen the burden on our cleansing department, and it would transform the city. And once again, I sound like a stuck record on this, but this goes beyond the mere look of the city and the health of the city. It has everything to do with how we project our city and our nation. If you go to Kigali in Rwanda, you will find it spotless. You will not find a plastic bottle. And that projects potential investors and tourists something about Rwanda, about the pride that individuals have in their country, in their city. And if we are all patriotic Zimbabweans, as we are, it goes beyond our city. It's about our nation. And it's something that doesn't cost us anything. It doesn't cost any of us anything to pick up a plastic bottle that we come across. When we go for a walk with our family, if you just take a plastic bag with you and pick up the litter that you see, I guarantee within weeks we will transform our city. So I don't want to be negative, I want to be positive. I I'm appealing primarily to us as councillors. Can we keep this up, lead by example, and then I think it will be infectious and it will encourage others to follow our lead. So that's number one. Number two is a more negative issue that I need to raise briefly. We will be dealing with this in committee, but the public have a right to know what is going on regarding a major asset of the city. It deals with Ngwebu breweries. As we all know, a few weeks ago there was industrial unrest, which was well publicized. I commend the chair of the business committee who acted quickly along with the town clerk to try and intervene in a positive way. Thank you to them. But the reality is that Ngwebu Breweries is in deep financial trouble. It's inappropriate for me to go into those details here, but it's important that the public understand that it is in deep financial trouble. We would be disregarding our obligation to the public if we were not transparent in that regard. But it's not just a negative story. The business committee, the board of Ngwebu, the town clerk's office has been engaging potential private investors who have indicated a desire to come in. The business committee gave those investors up until the 7th of August to submit proposals. We have received one substantive and substantial proposal. I'm not going to mention the name of the company, and there will be a meeting of the business committee tomorrow morning to discuss that proposal. And we hope that other companies will come in by the 7th of August deadline. It is then incumbent upon us as a council to act quickly on this matter. This company is bleeding monthly, and its balance sheet is in a very serious position. Because it is wholly owned by the city council, it means the city council is bleeding monthly. And so we have to be diligent. We do not have the luxury of time. We need to act firmly and quickly and wisely to stabilize this critical entity of our city. And I look forward to our deliberations in committee, and we will keep the public appraised in due course of the measures that we intend to take by consensus after debate here to try to stabilize Ngwebu. The final issue is a matter which gives me great pleasure this afternoon. As you know, a consistent theme of this council has been to ensure that we secure more sources of raw water for future generations. And we have all been engaged in the glass block dam debate. And at the outset, I want to on camera thank once again the Honourable Minister of Local Government, Minister Daniel Garwe, and his Permanent Secretary, Dr. Basera. As I've mentioned in previous council meetings, they have acted proactively and diligently to further this critical project of ours. And that has now culminated in an excellent letter written to the town clerk by Dr. Basera on the 20th of July a few weeks ago. I'm going to quote one paragraph from that letter just to show a government stance regarding glass block at present. It says, Zinwa has further confirmed its support and its role in providing the necessary regulatory oversight in accordance with the Water Act. In light of the foregoing, and considering the clear policy position of government and the support expressed by Zinwa, you are kindly requested to expeditiously conclude all outstanding implementation arrangements with the relevant stakeholders to facilitate the commencement of the project without further delay. The Ministry remains committed to supporting all parties in ensuring the successful implementation of this landmark project and urges continued collaboration to achieve this important national objective. Signed by Dr. J. Basera, the Secretary for Local Government, obviously with the support of the Honourable Minister. This letter marks a very significant step forward. I'm pleased to further report that following that letter, the Town Clerk and our legal department met with the consortium yesterday. It was a very constructive meeting, and we can expect in the few weeks lying ahead, I think, for these final agreements to be signed so that this project can go ahead. I want to end by once again thanking the Minister for the constructive role that he has played. I want to thank you, councillors, for the support. The Deputy Mayor chaired, I think, the meeting with the African Development Bank in May. And when this project gets underway, I think it is going to ensure that we can secure long-term water for our city, of course, in conjunction with Gwai Shangani when that is concluded. With those words, Acting Town Clerk, I ask you to commence the meeting, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Good afternoon. The question being the confirmation of the minutes of the full council meeting held on the 5th, was it the 1st of July?
1st of July.
1st of July 2026, which is attached and marked as Annexure A with pages A to Q, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a proposer for those minutes? Thank you, ma'am. And could I have a seconder? Thank you. May I sign the minutes?
Sign, Your Worship.
Thank you. Right, we go to, with the Chair of Health Housing, please present.
Your Worship, I move that the report of the Health Housing and Education Committee meeting held on the 7th of July 2026 as submitted be received and the various recommendations therein be adopted.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a seconder for that? Thank you. Is there any debate? Yes, ma'am. What item? One.
Yes.
You have the floor, ma'am. Thank you.
Ngizakhuluma kakhulu njengoba ukhulume ngokuhlanzeka kwedorobho. Ngibona ekuhlanzekeni kwedorobho singahlanza i-environment, kodwa ke kuyadingeka lokuthi khona sikhangelele ukuthi khona abantu bakithi labo baphila kuhle. Ngikhuluma kakhulu ngikhangele kuLandfill liyana engale emhlubulweni weCountry Park. Izakhamizi zeCountry Park ngibona lapha ku-report kubhalwe ukuthi khona ilithilina liyayimaneja kuhle, kodwa iLandfill liyana idala obunye ubungozi kakhulu eCountry Park. Ngayona linyanga kaJuly ngesabekelalo ukuthi uAugust lo inyanga yomoya. So kule ngozi laphana, Your Worship, abantu beCountry Park lami ngingumhlali wakhona ngale, ezindlini zethu akusaphefumuleki. Nxa ulele ebusuku, instead of having that quiet sleep, nice sleep, uzezwa usuphaphamuka usuhitshwe intuthu. Kulobungozi obukhulu ngoba izakhamizi zeCountry Park kade sizicela ukuthi ikhansili yonke ngayiyahlanganyela kube le permanent solution yokusolva indaba yengozi mine. Ngoba sike saba khona phana lama stakeholders wonke abe civil protection unity bebekhona phana, uMP wakhona phana bekhona, ikhansili bikhona khona phana. Kuthiwa khona isiqokoqela esifunekayo imali. Kambe leli dorobho lilikhulu kangaka. Ezikhwameni zalo alikwanisi yini ukunakekela ukuthi likhiphe imali ezayenza i-permanent solution yakuleyani indawo. Ukuze izizalwane zeCountry Park zizuze ukuhlaliseka kuhle ezindlini zazo. Ngoba impilo yabantu isengozini. Okokuthi le council yona le kwesinye isikhathi izagcina kusiba lemlando ebaphezukwayo ngali council abantu sebehambile ukuyadinga ezempilakahle batholakala ukuthi abanye sebe affectwe intuthu yengozi mine. Ngiyabonga, Your Worship.
Which item? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I rise to speak on the issue of waste management, education and enforcement. I remember in one of our full council meetings as well, we spoke about enforcement. Your Worship, our city town is becoming dirty on a daily basis. It's actually not reducing, it's getting worse on a daily basis. It's so sad when you see people using the base or the roads to use it as a bathroom, as a toilet, as an eating place. It's everything. So I don't understand if we can. This report says they find 7 deposits of offenders. And this city is actually sitting on date on a daily basis. We spoke about enforcement. We even spoke about introducing a 24-hour enforcement, and we never got feedback on that. So I think we should run away from always coming into our meetings and always discussing solutions that are not being implemented. Because at the end of the day, people will never take us seriously. Because what they do is to watch us talk every month, and we are not implementing anything. So maybe if we can get the feedback from the committee on what they have done or what they are thinking of doing regarding the issue of vendors, our city's cleanliness, and they give us timelines. Because at the end of the day, if we leave it open like that, we are not getting solution on time. And these things are happening on a daily basis. Vendors are actually increasing more, even on broad daylight, not even in the evening. This is happening, not so. At least when they started, they were respecting us. They were doing these things in the evening. But now they do it in broad daylight. You have kids there. Their kids are using those places as everything as well. And at the end of the day, we only have 7 offenders. It doesn't make sense, Your Worship. Maybe it's high time we do something. Maybe we mustn't leave it to the committee only. Maybe we should join hands and try to come up with a solution, because at the end of the day, we might do cleanups on a daily basis if we're but we are not solving anything. We're actually cleaning for them. Sasa bebisele futhi the same date. Sibesiloko si take a pride on doing cleanups. That's not the solution to the problem. We need a solution to the problems. Ama cleanup meswa and there's an extracurricular activity, but we need a permanent solution to the problem. Thank you, Worship.
Thank you. Which items?
Item 6.
6. Item 1. You.
Ngiyabonga Nkosi. Okwami ukuphakama ngigcizelela njalo ngisekela ukuphakanyiswa ngumlingani wami uKhansila Matuni. Nkosi, inyanga kaNtulikazi ibe inzima kakhulu ebantwini abahlala elokishini laseCountry Park. uzananzelela Nkosi ukuthi every year kusizini leyi siyaphakamisa ukuthi ngabe kulento eyenzakalayo ngendaba yengozi mine. Kodwa ke 3 years in office nje ukuindicator kwakho ukuthi sesimakhe i-halfway mark. Akula lutho lubambekayo engozi mine. Meanwhile mihla lamalanga udubo lwentuthu udubo lokuchiswa kwengozi mine luya-intensify. Angazi ukuthi kuyini okwenza ukuthi i-council leyi iqamulela izigodo endlebeni nxa sikhala simele izakhamuzi ngendaba yengozi mine. It's very wrong, and I'm inviting all of you as councillors ukuthi ke spend one night e-Country Park. We'll provide accommodation. We'll provide everything. The dinner shall provide and the breakfast. Like lilale liphefumula intuthu esiyiphefumulayo njengabantu be-Country Park. Maybe it's because most of you lihlala ku-eastern side of town aliphefumula intuthu esengozi mine. That's why you are indifferent to the suffering of the people of Country Park. I'm so embarrassed ukuthi be part of this council eyekela abantu bedubeka bephefumula intuthu abangayaziyo befuthiswa ngento abangazaziyo daily. Kuyayangisa. It's a stain on your consciences, all of you city fathers. You think that thina siyaphambela amakhanda akasikhuluma ngithi engozi mine. But I know ukuthi alilamzwanga yedwa council leyi. You have lost your consciences. Abantu be-Country Park bayadubeka daily. And wonke umuntu lapho uhlezi wopha izandla. Nothing is being done. Thina njengama-councillors e-Country Park abantu bakhangelele thina. But we are helpless because akula muntu who is willing to listen to us. Can something be done for abantu be-Country Park? This is not just a service delivery issue. Lokho sokuhamba beyond service delivery. Nxa lisonta every Sunday lisiya ema-church, you are lying to yourselves. You are pretenders. You are hypocrites. Because there is nothing eliyisonta ema-church. Which God are you worshiping? Ongazwayo abantu abakhalayo abantu be-Country Park. I'm shocked. I'm embarrassed ngani council. Into ye-Country Park, can it be solved pronto? Ngiyabonga your worship.
Sorry, ma'am, what? No, we're still on one, ma'am. I will come to you.
Your worship, ukweyama ku-item ye-Country Park, but ngahluke kancane ngithi mina as a city we have watched year in year out, financial year in, financial year out, our revenue streams dwindling owing to the economic condition in the city. But it's also painful to hear a fellow councillor feeling he is not supported by fellow councillors. It really bleeds my heart. And Councillor Ndlovu siyakusekela, but we are probably in the same situation where we are helpless on how to practicalize the manner in which we should make urgent interventions to Country Park situation. But I want to say, as a suggestion, it's evident the city has no money to do the needful, but it shouldn't end there. We have multiple partners in the city that are willing, and even in the diaspora, that are willing to partner the city of Bulawayo to address the challenge with the issue of Country Park and Ingos. So, Mina, I'm actually employing council management through you, your worship, that let's immediately get partners who are sitting on the periphery and ready to assist to come in yesterday. The city of Bulawayo prides itself as a city that follows its rules, its regulations, and its bylaws. But your worship and councillors, I want to say this. It doesn't matter how we follow the laws and the bylaws and the rules. If that has ceased to serve the interests of the residents. Why am I saying this? Sometimes I delay when izinto. Sikhulume ngo statutory instrument number 1. Sikhulume nge act ethile ku local government. Sikhulume nge policy ethile. Abantu besifa. Akusisizi ukuba ngo councillor your worship as long as istance sethu about whatever we do in the city does not benefit the residents that elected us into the offices. That's one very important thing that we must know. Uguti, as long as we being here ceases to have an impact in the lives of those that elected us into office, we might as well not be here. I see our councillors at Country Park in the past week, they were being bashed with social media. And also all of us as councillors, we were useless, we don't know what we are doing. Maybe we need to also get the residents to know what yes, we are the culprits, but we are not the only culprits. Management is also the culprits. Because tinaye is saying is in just Pindes Concord. There is basically no need to have that dog, your worship. If you are going to have it and still sleep outside your yard, guarding your kids, it can't be. I-management siyibhadaleli ukuthi inkosi nxa kulama situations anjengala esiwatshoyo. Tina as councillors, I often hear them besithi thina qualification yethu i-ID, i-national ID la kuma chambers. But we proffer solutions every day. Asenzeni so kubenje. Asenzeni so kubenje. Akwenzakala. As we speak kathesi thina kuthiwa uGarwe is rating people. Mina mfuna ukubona for sure ukuthi kuyarethwa yini abantu. Ngoba lapha we have a lot that needs to be attended to. As uCouncillor Ndlovu says ngeCountry Park, abantu bayalala kuse, bavuke bapolish izicathulo bagqoka amathayi babuye emsebenzini khona la. Bazotshayisa balale kuse. Abantu bakamlimi bephefumula intuthu yamaplastiki imithi engaqedakaliyo, all forms of incomplete combustion. What stops us from partnering, your worship? Surely even the finance minister knows about the Ngozi problem. The president himself knows about this. The local government minister, Honorable Garwe, knows about this. Sure, if we can go to Honorable Garwe and say, immediately we don't want to follow a process, but allow us to partner A, B, C, D to save lives and Ngozi. Do you think they will refuse? They would not refuse. Honestly, they would not. So sometimes we have a lot of self-inflicted injuries on our part as councillors and the management. And then we shift the blame. It's actually good to scapegoat. Yokuthi yonke into siya blame government. Khona government ingena ngaphi your worship? How does government come in failing to address the issue engwe? How does government come in? There is no way government comes in. It takes someone who stands up at corner, guys, let's address to this. Let's look for partners. Silungise lokho. I-council nale siyaphenduka yaba i-talk show. Why has it become a talk show? Ngoba even singabuya lama solutions, partner this, babe besitshela ngemthetho engasebenziyo. But njengoba sithina sibuye ku politics ukuba ngo councillor nge-18 years le birth certificate. We are entirely hopeless. And this is the solution, your worship, that I'm bringing to you. Let's partner those that have money. And banengi nkosi. Silungise nini ingwebu. Abantu baphile. Before you know it, we will have deaths a country. There are pregnant women a country who are inhaling these toxins. babe sebekutshela khonapha besithi there is no evidence ukuthi ama-miscarriages lawa yenziwa yi-smoke. They have all good excuses to defend themselves. But when it's evident ukuthi this has a negative implication to the lives of the people of Country Park.
Item 1?
16. Item 1.
Okay.
Ngisukumele ngiyabonga worship. Ngisukumele ukuthi ngisekele inkulumo yenziwe nguKhansela Mahlangu lapha ukuthi kuyini okunzima ukuthi nxa sesehlulekile sidinge abanye abangasincedisa ukuthi indaba yengozi mine ilunge. Mhlawumbe ikomiti ingasitshela ukuthi kuyini okunzima khonapha. Your worship uthe uqalisa wathi sesileminyaka emithathu 3 years. I remember siqala ukungena vele ngenyanga yokuqala. Ngozi mine was a topic. So ngicabanga ukuthi mina ku opening remarks zakho you are going to mention ukuthi it's now 3 years as a council sisehluleka to come up with a solution yengozi mine. Sesileminyaka emithathu asila solution. Sesileminyaka emithathu sile committee esithi yona ikhangelana nalowo msebenzi. Up to now ikomiti le kayikalethi anything okungasisuthisa ukuthi iminyaka emithathu le bahleli bebona indaba zenhlala kahle emayelana ngehealth koBulawayo. So I challenge the committee ukuthi selisenze sahluleka lathi sinje njengamakhansela asithi ukuthi asiniki lathi support ekwanileyo mhlawumbe ukuthi into le ilungu. So I'm saying as partner ngokuphangisa, let's partner ngokuphangisa. So I'm supporting into ekhulunywa ngubaba uMahlangu, uKhansela uMahlangu. Lokhu akuchiyananga eCountry Park when it comes to into ze health lezi akuchiyananga lezindlu lezana esizaziyo ezitshona zigcwala amanzi. So kule minyaka emithathu as well. Fine, so kuzamiwe imizamo yokuthi izitendi lezana zibe khona abantu besuswe emanzini. Kodwa ispeed sakhona ayisiso because i-evaluation ezindlu zakhona ayikapheli ukuthi abantu bephume laphana bekambe endaweni eqondile izulu lingakani. So singakhuluma ngengozi mine but kulokunye futhi okukhulu eCountry Park ukuthi izulu khathesi liyeza akukalungiswa. Siyakwazi futhi ngokunye kwakhona lokho ukuthi eCountry Park kakula zitolo zokuthi abantu bethenge. By that kwacreatewa indawo ethiwa kusemacaravanini. Every month si experience ama-death ngemkhuhlane la ngama-accident ngeposition eyalapho abantu abafike bazibuthanisa khona besithi bayathengisa. Kukhulunywa every day ukuthi lapha ekansileni ukuthi akukhitshwe ispace esiqondileyo esingekho emgwaqweni abantu labana bekambe bethengisa le ndawo leyo. Abantu labana bayavuma but sesile 3 years we are failing to avail ispace esokuthi abantu labana besemacaravanini befakwe kuhle ba ready to ukuthi bebe yiself help thing bekeep imali zabo beyakhela izinto ezilama plan aqondileyo. If i-council isithi ayilamali abantu labana they are into business, they want to pay izimali ezifunwayo ecounseling but we are failing to provide space. Kodwa iganga ligcwele yilo elinye iganga lakhona elichayo khathesi ezwispeak liyengeza intuthu eCountry Park. So ikomiti le ngiyayicela ukuthi ngabe iyahlala ibe le emergency meeting nxa kusehlula besibize sonke sibuye sizoncedisana in terms of ingozi mine le, in terms of ama issues health eCountry Park. Ngiyabonga your worship.
We need to wrap up on item 1 first.
Yeah, honestly.
assist the committee. Because even the previous council, before this one came, such issues came through. And up to now, there is no solution to this. And I want to believe that this is the last time when councillors speak about this. Town clerk of the day, who is there today, I believe that at some point, there was a potential partner who was identified. I think it would be proper if councillors can be appraised of that, right, and what happened. And also, if things are not moving properly, engage the minister. I believe there can be a lasting solution here. Because we don't want the situation which is similar to the situation of 6 August 1945, when America bombed the 2 cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I want to speak about the effects. That what we are bringing there is a disaster. Some of the effects which I see them emanating from there, we are most likely to be seeing the outbreak of cancerous diseases, birth defects emanating from that, even mental trauma. He spoke emotionally, the councillor, about this. And I want to confess, councillor, because the Bible says that if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, you shall be saved. You gave us reason that there is no reason for us to be going to church when the park is burning like that. And you know, this is a serious matter which we should not take lightly as council. If we are really serious, I agree with one policymaker who said we have turned this house into a talk show. Resolutions are being made here. They are not being implemented. Quite a number of factors are then cited as excuses, which I want to believe that I don't think we are doing justice to the residents of the city of Bulawayo. If we fail to address Court Park, I urge that councillors, let's resign. Because the people whom we are supposed to deal with are seated right here. Town clerk, we are going to fire you. If you don't deal with the people who are failing to do the job down here, we have got the power to fire you. And you have got the power to fire those who are under you to make sure that they perform. To make sure that the policies which we formulate here are implemented, or they come back to us with the feedback on the progress they have made. I want to believe that, councillor, if next time we raise such kind of issues like this one, and we don't act, let's sign resignation letters and go home. Because we are not worthy to be called city fathers. If we are brewing something which can cost the lives of people in Country Park, Mayor, you yourself included, you should also resign. Because the person you are supposed to fire is seated next to you to make sure that the policies are implemented in this house. Nyabo.
Item 6. Item 6, ma'am. Yeah, okay.
Thanda ukubonga nhlonipha amakhansila akhulumile phambilini item 1 ukuthi le talk show indaba ye Country Park sesikhulume kaningi lokho esangena kule ikhansila lokho esikhuluma yafana lokuthi siyadlala. Ngicela ukukhuluma ngo item 6 wama tombstone lapho esibhadala khona $38 nxa umuntu esafaka i-tombstone. Ngibuze khonapho committee ukuthi sibhadalana ngoba i-grave siyabhadala depending ukuthi weekend umbeni phakathi kweviki. So nxa sesafaka i-tombstone sibhadalana ngoba emangcwabeni amangcwaba yethu ayawela. Take for instance eluveve lapha umhlabathi lwana uyawela vela sokungamagodi emangcwabeni wethu utshani kungaka liyachisa futhi lo tshani lwana lisichisela ama-flowers ethu emangcwabeni wethu. So i-$38 lesibhadalayo kahle kahle ngeyani? Ngicela ukubuza, ngicela ukuba kwazi ngoba ngeke sibhadale imali yegrave siphinde sibhadale $38 esingayiboni ukuthi sibhadalelani. Ngiyabonga.
Yes.
Thank you, Worship. I also want to comment on item 6, cemeteries. The past month of July, I happened to have attended 4 burials for family members and friends. 3 at Loveve and 1 at Vucha. And we had 4 burials in the same line of worship. Others were praying here, others singing here, others shoveling here, others preaching the other side, but the same line. And when I inquired, I was told it was due to shortage of graves. I further inquired as to why we now have shortage of graves. They said they don't have the equipment. They've got 1 TLP, which I was also told is hired from elsewhere. It's not ours. We don't have even 1 TLP functioning as a city. And it is now really disheartening. You cannot mourn and bury your relative in a dignified manner. Because when you are talking, someone will be singing just next to you. So I implore the department to please look at our equipment. I know some of them that are saying they need to be redone, or we have to buy other machineries. But the challenge is that we hire your worship. Hiring equipment is very, very expensive than having ours repaired. Because we've got a lot of equipment decaying there at our yard. So I implore the department to make sure that we have our own equipment being repaired so that we deal with this issue of cemeteries. It is no longer decent. Yeah, I witnessed it myself, and I really to ask. We are doing little or nothing to improve the situation. As you said in your opening remarks, that ours is service delivery, and if we look at our 3 years in office, have we done better, more than 50% or less? The answer is we've done less than 50% of the job. So we are therefore failing. If it's less than 50%, we are failing. So I implore the department to look at that. This cemetery is one of the main service delivery system which we should provide to residents. The residents should not fail to bury their loved ones. So I implore the department to make sure that they look at that issue and we stop hiring. Because if we hire,
It's expensive.
It's very, very expensive. We cannot buy our own. But let's repair ours. And if we can't repair ourselves, why can't we contract a well-equipped garage to fix our machineries for us, rather than keeping them saying we can't? Because with us, we'll be complaining of procurement issues to say price and stuff, it takes long. But if we go to the market at once and appoint a service provider to say, please look at our essential equipment, make sure you service them. If we have got a breakdown, we won't be going to tender. They will be coming and breaking the equipment to their garage and fixing it and taking it back. So that is my plea, Your Worship. It is very, very embarrassing what is happening at our cemeteries. Thank you.
Item 16. Anyone before 16? You've got the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I rise to speak to this item, which is about social housing provision, construction of millennium houses, residential houses. I think this has also been a topical matter, which is reflective of how City Council is delivering its services. I think all of us, councillors, management included, will recall that historically, this department used to provide housing for its residents. In fact, it is its mandate to provide housing for its citizens. But however, what caught my interest is that there is a plan by this department to construct 25 houses, tapping from its in-house personnel and in-house resources. 25 houses. It's a clearly laid out plan. They will do everything, foundation, slabbing, concrete, layouts, the superstructure, up to the end of the building construction. And I really got asking myself to say, can we not really capacitate this department? Because they were talking about using vocational training students to put up these houses. And when you look at that over the years, when they used to provide housing, a lot of people were able to access low-cost housing. But we have since relegated ourselves to the status of spectator and onlooker in terms of housing provision. And the private developers have since taken over provision of housing. And what is the effect of that? It has literally pushed the cost of housing beyond almost all the residents of the city. There are very few people who are able to purchase houses. I want to submit that this committee must come up with a brigade. It may not be very big, but which is given capacity to construct low-cost housing so that we can be able to bring down our housing waiting list. It has been said in the past that almost all the materials that we need are locally available. You talk of bricks, you talk of quarry stone, you talk of the door frames and the window frames. It's all locally obtainable. So how can we make this department have capacity to build these houses? I'm sure over a period of a decade, we can significantly bring down the housing waiting list. Thank you, Worship.
Yes. Your Worship, I'm rising on the same topic, on the same item 16. But I want to say, Councillor Ndlovu speaks to something that is close to my heart. You would acknowledge that we have recently received thousands of people from South Africa who have been reminded to come back home, and forcibly so. And what this has done is it has increased the need for accommodation. Your Worship and fellow councillors, we have learned a Hyde Park that is currently under planning. Ngicela ukuthi sikuvumelane njengama city fathers sonke and you, Your Worship, ukuthi land leyi ingaqeda ukuplana. I-city council must service it itself, and we must give our residents abo Bulawayo, someone who has been here 10 years and above, who has been on the waiting list in perpetuity. As the waiting list yabo Bulawayo incane kulama stands esesa developayo for the past 10 years sanika abantu, but it has not been reduced. Now I want us to agree as fellow councillors that when we do Hyde Park, let's make sure everyone who gets a stand there is on the waiting list, which is 10 years plus. Ngiyalithembisa singenza njalo councillors zitya. Siza reduce inumber yethu. We have a capacity to produce more over 20,000 stands there. Hyde Park. Asikuvumelana nenini ukuthi asimeni ngama developer. Let's even sell some of our prime land. Sidinga capital equipment. Grader. We have excellent engineers in this city who produce good work. Your Worship, there is a negative snowballing implication of developers. Go to Pelandaba West. Their houses, akula mgwaqo, akula mgelo. Butshani kungaka abantu bahlala ezindlini njengenkomo ezisemaplazini. Akula mgwaqo. Abantwana badlalela emangcwabeni, as uCouncillor is saying. Go to Machula North, Amazon area, Your Worship. You will weep. Machula South, I always speak to Engineer Ncube and Engineer Spanda. The developers create amaswa onalawa fita back. imgeli ihlala igcwele so amasimba abantu ngama developers, your worship. But where are they? They are whistling all the way to the bank sebethengisa ama stands ethu befaka izandla ezikhwameni. What are they doing? Number one, they are creating a burden to the city because we have to attend to what we have paid for. Number two, imgwaqo kabalungisi bayadweba, your worship, kuvuleka indlela uye khona ngale. Go to Woodville kathesi, this new development behind this construction ka Goddard. It's a sharp contract. Hopeville has got tar, marked, everything. On the left side, on the right side, there's a Woodville community that appears like you are in Insusa somewhere. Yes, but those people have occupation certificates, your worship, where they are staying in those houses with absolutely no service. Emma Chula North, as you go deeper towards Umkuza, the drainage, your worship, imgelo yankhona is this narrow. And it's flowing. Once it rains, iyafila, water starts flooding across the drains and everything into people's houses. What developer? They've gone all the way to the bank, smiling, at the expense of the local authority, which has to redo those areas, at the expense of the quality of life for our residents. Okumele ahlale emanzini, ahlale emasimbeni, ahlale kuyo yonke into unhealthy ebantwini. Your worship, ngicela ukuthi i-Hyde Park ibe isibonelo. Let's do it thina as the local authority. Sinika abantu who have stayed here 10 years, 15 years bengela zindlu. We don't want it to go back to say why housing waiting list ingareduceki. Let's accept we have all failed, but let's start anew. Sinika abantu bakobulawayo abahlala lapha ama residents akobulawayo izindlu ezi-decent. Our policy is that we provide housing, not houses. A housing policy is the opposite of what is happening in Mahachula South, is an opposite of what is happening in Mahachula North, is an opposite of what is happening in Woodville North, is an opposite of what is happening in Magwekwe, is an opposite of what is happening in Pelandaba. I can mention ngizengwele phansi indawo ezibolileyo ezenziwa ngama-developer, your worship. Sinje sithethiswa ngama-residents, councillor you are useless, councillor you are useless. But ama-solutions sibuya lawo nsuku zonke. Can we work together as the councillors and management to come up with solutions so that we address these ills permanently? Let's not only build houses and get away with taking our the developers taking money to the bank, leaving abantu living in abject poverty. You spoke of countries. I've been to Mozambique, your worship. They are giving people decent housing. The streets are clean. If you go to Mozambique at night, if you drop a peanut, you will pick it in the streets. You won't even have to look around to look for it. You will pick it. Bulawayo is an opposite of that. It's filthy. The housing policy is there, but it's not being followed. Abantu bayadubeka, bahlala emchameni, bahlala kuyo. All forms of debt, your worship. But the answer is here in these chambers, where we need to pull together. Sonke nini, sisebenze management and councillors. But again, your worship, I have never seen a modern corporate which works in the manner we do. Okungela performance appraisal, okungela responsible. No one owns anything. Akula job ownership. Nothing. You come to work, you go home, whether you have done anything or you have not done anything. Kuyafanana. It's time, your worship, we lived the modernity that we speak about. Even emsebenzini, mina nginje I'm a manager, but I have a performance contract. Even permanent. If I can't attend to my things, ngiyavalelisa ngihambe komahlangu. let's have the same thing secouncil lizabona izinto zizahamba. But nxa singenzanga njalo your worship, even yourself where do you draw the motivation to work hard if there are no axes and leverages to monitor and make sure that you work hard? There is no motivation. But clearly thina lapha sila motivation yokuthi sisebenzele abantu. So if we can't motivate ourselves ukuthi sisebenzele abantu, the stick must follow. Sisebenzele abantu ngenkani ngoba we are drawing salaries. Imagine ukuthi khonapha uyawuzwe nxa kumele si contribute your worship, kuyabuya khapha kulabantwana befuna ukuhanjiswa ku certain trip. Siya complain li 30,000 where the ratepayers are feeling the direct impact of the benefit of belonging to a seat where we are applying back. Kuba ngumsindo khonapha sicine singasakhulumisana. But imali yabo. But we have the courage futhi ukudlana le imali yabo singenzi lutho. Hayi ake sizinuke namakhwapha.
Yeah, item 6 here. Yeah, I'll be very, very short.
No, it's 16, not 6.
Oh, 16 yes. I've ngiyazibuza ukuthi nxa kuthiwa kuza yakwa izindlu lezi ngu-25. I think the idea is correct. But the figure izindlu lezi ngu-25 iyo ingayizwisisi ukuthi ikomiti kuyini okudala ukuthi bethi 25. If kuyi cash, kuyimali eshotayo. I have a question here. City Council partners with the private developers. Private developers, they develop stands. City Council claims its percentage is 20%, I think. 20% from those same stands, right? How about uti committee kabang part of those stands, part of that money is the City Council. By Tatima ibuye with this idea so that we add value on our stands. Lane service atete esingaservisanga thina service ngo private. If we take part of that money and put it with this noble idea there, I think we'll be able to develop maybe 200 houses from that money. Imali yana iyangaphi imali sayithatha ku Enoch, iyangaphi imali sayithatha ku rent a roof. If ingaphendukanga futhi enye yakhona to the same department housing, where are we channeling that money? And sikwenzeleni, and the idea is to reduce abantu abafuna indawo zokuhlala ko Bulawayo. By reducing that, singa-add i-value by constructing these houses. These houses zizathengwa ngemali more than what? Than the value estate. The city will be getting more money from that money stands. So, ngiyazibuza ukuthi i-committee leyi iyahlala kuhle icabange kahle na ukuthi izinto zenziwa njani nxa kulama challenges e-committee. Nxa kulama challenges, I think let's help each other and try with Mrs. Joe. Sizameni ukuthi i-committee leyi i-add value by other brains so that si move, because i-committee leyi mbona ngazani hayi kayisiletheli izinto ezithuthukisa idolobho ngaphandle kokukhuluma ngokudobha amaphepha kuphela. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I'll be very brief, Your Worship. Actually, I want to thank the committee for presenting that report to us. As 25 but allow me to cruise on where Mahlangu cruised. On a similar topic of housing provision. But I want to zero on these land developers whom we give tenders to provide houses for the citizens of this great city. I propose that the committee, Mama Kuman, I want you to take a tour to Pelandawa West. The whole of Pelandawa West, where you awarded a certain land developer that tender, that contract to do that. Then evaluate your committee after that. It's an ISO, Your Worship. I can remember very well, if my memory serves me right, Councillor Matsana has spoken several times in this chamber about the Pelandawa West. These guys, these comrades, when they are given me these contracts, I don't believe that our staff follow whether what is on the contract is done on the ground. Whether roads, we are not talking about dusty roads. Unless if it is in the contract, it is written dusty roads. Look, I haven't been to what Councillor Matlang was saying, but I want to believe that it's a disaster. It's time up, we need to introspect as a committee, as a department, whether we are doing justice to the citizens of this great city. You see, it's disheartening, Your Worship. I'm now shy to call myself a council, even to introduce yourself as a council, because the response you get there is very negative. The moment you say I'm council, so honestly, it's not longer an honorable thing to be a councillor in the city of Bulawayo. You see, we now hide our identity. Because to call yourself a councillor, I don't think. Honestly, we may laugh, Your Worship. It's time up. We need to evaluate this council, to evaluate each department.
Each director.
Yes. Remember, the minister put us to strict notice.
Well, I see you.
And he said we are in an intensive care as a city. It's very embarrassing. We used to be said Bulawayo is the best performing city.
Yes.
Now the minister said the cities who are in intensive care is city of Bulawayo, Chitungwiza, and Harare.
Imagine.
Why is it like that? When we have got competent directors who hold several degrees. Do we have the right people or we have got liabilities?
We have degrees on paper.
In this council, somebody said maybe we employ directors who did a degree in hotel and catering. And he has no clue on how to run a department. I'm ashamed, to be honest. I'm totally ashamed to be a councillor. This is my worst table ever in this chamber. Thank you.
I'm not councillor for Mkadwini, where the state houses are being constructed. It's unfortunate maybe that some of my colleagues are contributing without information on that piece of land. The piece of land one is a serviced area where council is no longer going to do raw sewer and water. And there is a donor. How those houses came about is a donor who built the Millennium houses and left 25 slabs. Those are slabs which are left by a donor. So the department is just simply continuing building on that slab, which is very cheaper, and there are no services that are needed. The services are already there. So maybe I thought that I just need to update my fellow colleagues so that they contribute to while they are well informed. Thank you, Worship.
Is there any further debate before I respond and ask the chair? Any?
I respond.
I'm assuming, no, Chair, I want to respond. There are three issues that have been raised. that I need to address. As you know, my policy in chairing these meetings is to allow councillors to speak, and then I respond generally at the end rather than interject. So let's come back to Ngozi Mine. And I want to thank the councillors who, the two councillors in particular, who raised the issue. There is no doubt that this is a festering sore in our city. And it is not the first time that we have raised this issue. It's not the first time that I have spoken about this issue. The problem, and this is addressed to all of us, is that I think that as councillors we have been reactive rather than proactive. When a fire bursts out at Ngozi Mine, as has happened in the last 3 weeks, we become reactive, understandably. I'm not criticizing it, but I'm saying that we need to learn from our own actions in the last 3 years. We have been reactive. We have tended to react when the fire starts and those awful fumes are emitted. But we need to become proactive on this issue. Now let's trace the history of Ngozi Mine during our tenure. One of the first things that I did as mayor was to go to Johannesburg with people from Victoria Falls. And quite frankly, councillors, management, it is shameful that Victoria Falls has achieved so much in the last 3 years compared to us. There is a group in Victoria Falls, it's called the Elephant Project, where they have managed to get their plastic recycled. They have ring-fenced their plastic disposal facility, and they are progressing, admittedly as a small entity, much smaller than us, but they've made progress in this issue of waste disposal and management, which is at the core of this issue of Ngozi Mine. 3 years ago, just under 3 years ago, when I went to that meeting in Johannesburg with these people from Victoria Falls, proposals were put forward. The reality of the last 3 years, and I know this because I see the email correspondence. We have had people in the diaspora. I'll mention the name of one person, a man called Gibson Inyati, who has been writing from the diaspora with expertise, offering to assist. We have also, as you know, tendered a project for Ngozi Mine. And for reasons that I still do not understand, and I'm not necessarily blaming management. I think part of it is, and we're not in committee, so the town clerk can't respond. But the reality is that council has taken steps in the last 3 years. There have been tenders floated. There is, in fact, an existing process that we are waiting for outcomes from PRAS, where companies like Geopomona have submitted tenders. But in 3 years, we have not managed to get the job done. We need to understand what is necessary for Ngozi Mine. We need to understand that if we just tinker with that, we will not resolve the problem. We need a multi-million-dollar investment into Ngozi Mine that will ensure that we process plastic, for example, in particular, that we process other types of garbage, that we go into the existing mine. And we have spoken about this before, about substitutes that flow from that processing, where you get different types of plastics that are produced from rubbish that can be used, for example, in road construction, that can be used for secondary processes like building plastic tanks. That has all been discussed. We've had numerous meetings to discuss what is needed. But I stress, what is going to resolve this issue is a multi-million-dollar project that we do not have the resources ourselves as a city to address. What I'm urging the chair and the committee to do is now to become proactive on this issue, not reactive. The committee, with myself, and I take the criticism, I myself should have been more proactive on this. I myself have been reactive. We now need, because this is, I agree with you. I agree with those who've said it's a stain on us, and we do not know the health consequences for the people living in Cowdrey Park who are having to breathe these toxic fumes when they emit like that. It's unacceptable, and there's no excuse. So what we now need to do is be proactive, primarily through the committee, through the town clerk's office. We need to understand where this tender is. What is the current state of it? Why hasn't it come to fruition? What can be done to get this thing moving? And it needs to be an absolute top priority. The problem, and councillors, I want to challenge you on this. There are many different ways of skinning a cat. I've admitted not being proactive enough. You have not been proactive enough. You have not invited, for example, me as mayor to come into Cowdrey Park in the midst of the fumes with our communications branch, with the town clerk, so that we experience what you experience, and to bring the press with us, so that we are proactive in that way to alert. Because you're absolutely right, councillors, that we sit on this side of the city, and by we, it's not just those who live in Hillside, but even those who live in Nketa and Mgwanin, who don't experience those toxic fumes and are therefore oblivious to how terrible it is to live under them. But you too need to be proactive to get us into the midst of when those fumes are at their worst, so that we all get energized on this and try to get this done. We need to go further. We need to have a meeting with the Honourable Minister of Local Government as well. And the Honourable Minister of Finance is deeply invested in Cowdrey Park. We need to have a meeting with him to see whether we can't mobilize government resources to tackle this thing, so that this scar, this unacceptable scar on our city is healed. So that's number one. Number two, the point regarding cemeteries that was raised. And Deputy Mayor, you raised the issue of equipment, that there's equipment that we need. I don't know if Engineer Debidi is here today, but if he is, he knows that we recently had an offer from a private company. I'm not going to name the private company, but we have a standing offer from a private company to come in. This is a large company that runs hundreds of mechanical entities and machines and trucks, that's offered to come in to assist us look at our inventory to see what should be discarded, what can be rehabilitated. But tied into this issue, is our procurement policy. My understanding is that many of our departments do not have the spares that they need to fix these machines, and they need those spares so that we can get machines back on. And it's not just digging machines. That we know in, for example, waste management, that often our refuse collectors are down because of the absence of relatively small parts. So, management, we need to be proactive and ensure that these basic parts are there, because I have no doubt that we probably do have the machines that necessary for our cemeteries. And those need to be made a priority. Let me conclude by coming to housing. And chairs present here today, some of you who spoke, you know what we have asked the town clerk to do regarding housing. And I'm going to repeat it for the benefit of everyone here and the public today. I have called for a housing in Durban, and I've spoken in full council about this before. And I'm going to repeat it now. What we need to address this, because this is a wonderful project, but it's 25 houses. Our housing backlog is 140,000. In fact, I read somewhere that it's more than that, 160,000. So 25 houses, as laudable as that is a drop in the ocean. And we need to think afresh. To restate what I'm trying to get done regarding the housing in Durban. We as a city have land. We have land available for housing development. Our primary responsibility is not for the middle class. Our primary responsibility is for working class people, including people working in the informal sector. I think that we have a consensus on that. That is our priority as a city. It should be any city anywhere in the world's priority to focus on housing that is required for working class people, and in our context in Zimbabwe, people in the informal sector who can't afford fancy houses in low density areas. We have got the land. We know that we've got the land available for that. So that is our contribution. What we need to do is pull together manufacturers in the city, brick manufacturers, cement manufacturers, companies like Trigger that make door frames and roof trusses and the like. And then we need to bring together the financial houses in our city and work out a plan. If the city contributes the land and manufacturers can contribute on a large scale and get the economies of scale by producing millions of bricks and other manufacturers, then we should be able to bring down the unit cost of housing for working class people. It must be possible. I had a meeting on Sunday with a gentleman who's recently started manufacturing, building houses in Rangemore, with enormous experience elsewhere in the world. And we need to draw on the expertise of people like that and think out the box. And that, I believe, is the way forward. Tied into that, I don't know if Mrs. Mukia is here. The finance director is here. I've spoken about the need to digitalize our waiting list, amongst other things. We need to digitalize that housing waiting list. We need to update it so that we have current information, and we need to ensure that that is done transparently, so that the people who've been longest on that list are the people provided with stands first. One final point on housing. We need to learn from the past in this city. When we go on the road to Impilo to the left, and in fact all over the city, we've got the flats. I'm not talking about the multi-story flats. We've got the one-story flats that function. If we think in Makakoba, near MacDonald Hall. Yeah, we need to go back to that concept, because you can build that type of housing cheaply. And it's also relatively humane. It's not these terrible blocks of flats that are terrible places to live in. The sort of terraced houses. Once again, we need to think out the box. So what I'm pleading with councillors and management, they can't respond to what I'm saying. Can we once again be proactive and treat this with urgency? This housing endowment, to pull together all of us so that we can try and work out a coherent strategy which doesn't just involve the city but all the players in the city, so that we can begin to tackle this. Thank you. Chair, would you respond, please?
Thank you, Worship, for your response. It has almost covered all the questions. Thank you, Councillor Mbumi, for a very constructive feedback. I can say all the comments, questions have been noted with great concern, but the committee it's working. That's why we have that report. And for those who read it through, I think you saw that your concerns appear in that report and some recommendations. Hence, the comment is not dormant as how it was described in front of the cameras. It is my plea that maybe some of our comments can help those who are listening here, even abroad. They can also, they can hear. So I think for the landfill, and also the issue of littering. The problem is a shortage of machine and plant and machinery, shortage of vehicles. Those who read or looked at the workshop statistics, they can realize that we are grounded in terms of vehicles and machinery. And if we are grounded, it's quite impossible to bear positive results. We can have experts, we can have technocrats, but we are completely grounded. If you can just review the workshop statistics, how many cars are at the repairs? Look at the tipper situation, look at the refuse truck, even the supervisory vehicles, we are grounded. So really, it's impossible to yield the expected results. As some councillors have also alluded to the issue of looking for partners for Ingozi Mine, advertisement has been already made following the government triple P policy, and the process is at Zita now. We are not just folding our hands while yesterday is that havoc happening at Ingozi Mine. Then also we thank you for your recommendations about the social housing. It has always been the committee's effort from the beginning that we have social housing so that even the underprivileged can benefit. It can seem as the drop in an auction, but as a pilot project, we hope it's going to expand. And all those recommendations which have been made are going to assist us to expand the project. For littering and
illegal dumping within the city. We have always alluded to the issue of illegal vendors. And the night city, which was never active in the city. So most of the people, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, they will be trading. And as a result, in the morning, there is a lot of dirty all over the city. We have always said, as a local authority alone, we cannot fight and win that situation. We have always pleaded to the central government, to the Office of Minister of State and Provincial Affairs and JOCO to assist us with the legal vendors and the congestion within the city. I thank you.
Can we move that report?
Move.
Thank you. Chair of Environmental Management, please move your report.
Thank you, Your Worship. Before I move my report, Your Worship, I would like to applaud the courts for finally hearing the pleas of the people of Makoko West, Your Worship. I saw a notice on our social media platform that we have been finally granted the permission to work on to finish that development, Your Worship. It comes as a relief to myself and my colleagues in my committee, because in most cases, Your Worship, as per council regulations, we are not allowed to comment on our report, Your Worship. And we are viewed as if we are neglecting the citizens of our... Thank you, Worship. Thank you, Worship. All right. I then moved that the report of the Environmental Management and Engineering Committee meeting held on the 13th of July 2026 is submitted, be received, and the various recommendations contained therein be adopted. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any debate? What item, ma'am?
Item
15. Anyone below 15? Sir? 2?
3, 4, 16.
Anyone lower than 2? What item, ma'am? So you've got the...
Your Worship, indaba engiyisukumeleyo ngeyamanzi ku-department. I remember singena sibuya izulu libe lingani. Sabhoda sayafika emadamu. Basitshengisa lensimbi abazithengileyo. Wathi hayi singahlanganisa lapha. Izulu lathi selisiyabuya, everything will be okay. The residents will get water. Izakhamizi ziyathandaza. Zalala khona emasowe, zalala babathandaza phansi kwezihlahla baba khona. Izulu lana. But into esesiyibona khathesi izulu linile compared to izulu lingananga. Lapho izulu linile amanzi izakhamizi aziwatholi. Omunye ufellow councillor lapha ukhulumile mphathi. Wathi sokuyangisa ukuba ngumkhansila. Ngoba isakhamuzi siyakubuza sithi councillor ngapha amanzi. Ubuza i-department iza kutshela ukuthi akula mota. Emanzini le mota kungena ngaphi? Ipipe isidubukile. Amapipe ayadubuka ethatha isikhathi ukulungiswa. Amanzi lawana why lingahleli ivule nje izakhamizi zisebenzise ngoba amanzi alahlekayo maningi kakhulu kwedlula lawo azabuya esetshenziswa izakhamizi. Singaphuma phandle sibhode ngobulawayo amanzi alahlekayo kathesi. Ngapha enketha kuvalewe amanzi. eBellevue uGodrich kule ndawo eyaduka kumbe sathola lokhu iduka la namuhla yalahla amanzi ayikavalwa. Abantu sebeze besiyawatshela khona. but sile department elabantu abafundile lokho besiyahamba lasesikolo lakathesi ngemali ekhansini ukuthi sifundelani ukuthi sibulala izakhamizi zingelamanzi koBulawayo sokudlulwa ngabantu abasemakhaya cela sibe serious siphakamiseni sibe yazi into esilandileyo emsebenzini department esilandileyo kuba ngama-councillors okunye sike sikhohleni bakithi izakhamizi first asiziyenzeleni sithola amanzi akhona emadamu izulu linile into esimisile kuyini ngiyabonga.
What item, sir? 3. Anyone? The same item, 2, man. Oh, okay. No one else on 2? Item 3, and then I'll come to you.
Okay. Your Worship. I'm going to talk about issue of Your Worship. It's under water distribution. Your Worship, the past 2 weeks, there was a notice which was issued by our local authority on the maintenance of our pumps and the system yamanzi. It was about 10 days, Your Worship. 10 days without water for abantu abangela amatanka abasebenza ngezigubhu kuphela is a long period of time. So, and during that period of time, we were forced to request for amabhauza, Your Worship. And maybe before I even make my contribution, when I'm talking about this issue, Your Worship, I wouldn't want to take it as an issue of a department kupela. I want to speak to us as a council yonke, councillors and management. If you are to check on this report, Your Worship, it says we only have 3 bowsers which are working out of a total of 7. And this report has been like this for the past 2 years. It has always been like that. And I remember it, I think about 4 or 5 months ago, I once raised the point, why do we always need to wait for a problem to happen so that we then react? Why can't we fix our things so that because we know that at some point we are not going to have enough water, we need a pause. These 10 days, Your Worship, we requested for Mapauza only to be told at some point there was not even a single Pauza which was working in this city, Your Worship. The second largest city in the country, we get to a point where we don't have a Pauza which is working. Even for Izimfa, we were not able to get a month. And I wouldn't want to point to the committee. I would want to point to the local authority because it's always easy to point to an individual to say, as a committee, we are not doing this. But this is our duty together as a local, as a council. So, because I know, I talk sometimes to Councillor Seketi. He is also equally frustrated because he has got no answers to some of these things which are also bothering us. So we have to be together in this a problem because you cannot have a situation where we run, there's no tap water, there are no bowsers, and there are areas where there are no bowls in this situation. Abantu bagcina sebesiyadinga amanzi begebha imthombo lapho kugeleza kunisuwa ukuthi bathola amanzi just for them to get water ukuthi bayisebenzise. It's not a good thing. And Your Worship, I've got a proposal because I don't also want to just pinpoint without raising a proposal. I personally think, Your Worship, that these meetings that we have are also not enough to discuss some of these issues to the finality. We come here once a month, either for a committee, we also come once a month for a full council. And and it's getting late. And we have got some pertinent issues which really need discussion to scrutinize. We used to do some of these things in the workshop. We no longer have that platform now. But these are issues that we can come and discuss some issues in an hour and then we go home, Your Worship. Why are we failing to get to a point where we can buy? Because most of these pausas, lambelez motors, as if we are told motor emission brakes, brake pads, motor emission, procurement. It's everyone who owns a car knows that motor at some point is a brakes. Why can't they buy these things in bulk? The motor is a email just because you pay them a spring, a shop. These are things that are known as motor. Even Tina Sinji, Siyakwazi ukuthi mawuthenga ama-break pads sometimes you buy 2 or 3 sets knowing ukuthi lawa ingaphela nizanjani ngizafaka lawo not ukuthi engaphela then as a local authority you start applying again. When you are buying, why can't we buy in bulk? Why can't we buy these things in bulk so that singabi lokho sichona sibuza into eyi-1. It's a proposal that I'm actually putting ku committee because even ungacheka I read mina even ama-locals nawe procurement lawana. We are always procuring the same things. We should be able to say, no, this time around we are buying a space or motor. Which type of cars do we have? Let's buy in bulk. So that's in a local spin. That's my proposal. Then number 2, on the same proposal, Councillor Matlangu raised a certain point, which I also want to tie into what I'm talking about. Are we not able, Your Worship? I remember at some point there was a time when stands were being sold. I think it's Selborne Park. And those stands were being sold with a target to say we want to do this with the money. And Imaliana, I remember it was during the Zim dollar era, and the stands that they were being sold in US dollars. With a target to say this is what we want to do. Why can't we do the same also with some of these things? We have land, we can actually make use of that land. And then we say we are selling these stands. Stands now 200, they are being sold at 20,000. We want to channel this money to go and buy a motor for engineering department. Why can't we do that? Because we are every time. Hey, councillor, secretary, the committee, but this goes beyond the councillor secretary as an individual and as a chairperson of the committee. We are to blame all together. We have to find ways of making sure that his intolerance is injured. Last time we came here and said, can we have a platform or maybe can we be allowed to seventy mali to a word retention? Each and every word I saw the councillor also raised it to committee. Why can't we be allowed to say say maybe you now have about 60 or 70,000? We can come together. What 18 next to my word is what 29 we've got what 14 we're under one constituency.
I'm reluctant to interject, but a quick question. How much does a Bowser cost?
I will get to that point, Your Worship. But my point is, even if it costs $1 million, but my point is, we can actually cluster these words, even if it means that we can cluster 6 or 7 words. Because right now, if you have to check from our word retention balances, we've got words which have got 70, 80,000. If you multiply that by 10, it's 700,000. We can buy a Bowser for 10 words.
Plenty.
Yeah, we can buy a Bowser for 10 words, so that at least we don't burden maybe if finance department. Some of these things, I'm awarding about 3-4 le motor yabo either yamasuwa kumbe ibhawuza yamanzi. It becomes a bit better for us. So this is also my second proposal on the same issue. Yeah, it also becomes my last on the contribution yabo.
Ngiyabonga Nkosi. Ngiya ku item 3 water distribution ku table 2.1. Ama leaks, they are too much, especially emalokishini anjengabo Phumla South maningi kakhulu. Kanti ama-dollar water level lawana awanyeke yini asebenze ukuthi athenge imaterial yokuthi balungise ama-leaks lawo lapho kuyabe kufunakala khona ukuthi kulungiswe, than ukuthi every week kube lamanzi achithekayo kungenziwa lutho ngakho. Ngikhuluma kunje namhlanje ePhumula ngiripote about 10 amanzi adubukileyo kuphela ezindaweni ezijiyene in Phumula South. Sicela siqhubele lemizamo esingayenza. Ama-dollar water level lawana sicela asebenze entweni ezinjengazona lezi, ngoba izakhamizi ziyabe zichima ukuthi ngapha lisikhiphisa ama-dollar level, ngapha amanzi ayachitheka, senze njani? Ngiyabonga Nkosi.
Anyone else on 3?
Yeah.
Sir?
Yeah. Mine is a question. We always have these serious leakages. But I've discovered that they take time to come and close. Their reasons are that about transport. And if you offer them, so can I come and pick you up with my own vehicle so that we actually close where there's a leakage? Their response, but when they are not allowed to use councillors' vehicles or to use private vehicles to go and attend that. Yeah. So my question is it a policy? What is it really? Ukuthi nxa kungela mota, imota ibhizi enketa, amanzi sedukile eCountry Park. Then I, as a councillor, sensitive, umuntu ovalayo, can I rush and pick him up? Evala. Umuntu lwana ithi, no. I'm not allowed. Ukuthi ngisebenzisa imota leyo, ngizamelela imota evela engekhoyo futhi. So we are losing a lot of amanzi by that. I think the committee needs to look into that and see it. Is it a policy on a level in by so police? Then I request ukuthi I committee figure a Country Park. There is a pipe abayigepa silomnyaka. Kwakuyi solution ukuthi they want to separate amanzi ayakwati 28 lower 6 so that a certain portion of what 6 receives water. Even up to now, kula manzi kugcwele amadam. I-area yakhona kayifiki amanzi because of I think the connections. The proposal yayenzi ukuthi kakulungiswe ipipe leyo. Babuya bayigebha. Sebeyigebhile ilokhu ikhamisile sigcwele amanzi ezulu elanayo. Sesile extent kona phana abantwana sebelimali laphakathi. My question to chairperson uthi seleke la yafika khona inxa lingafikanga khona kindly visit the area liyebona ukuthi what is stopping you ukuthi lifake that piece of pipe and close connected that area engela manzi. It's my humble request to chairperson engineering.
Right, we dealt with item 3. Any further debate? Which items? Item 4, yes, ma'am? Sorry, 24. Sir? 3? 23? 16?
14.
Ma'am? 4. You have the floor, ma'am.
Yeah, I vele umafu. Ngiyabonga Nkosi ethubeni ngeke. Mangikhangela Nkosi ukuthi icommittee leli yi-backbone kaBulawayo. Yes. Nxa singayekeli ukuthi sinike izinto zokusebenzisa zahlala sikhala. Ngoba nxa ngikhuluma nginje. Ngiyafonela umuntu ukuthi ngicela ukuya uzokhangela usokulapha. Mam councillor ngila even imoto eyi1 imoto zami zigrounded vele ziphansi sithini njengobulawayo isicelo sami singaphonga ukhala singela ama solutions silezi mali zethu lezi kade sikhulunywa naphana ngocouncil ukuthi sile imali zo road level sile imali zama water level esedothi sithenge izimota zokuthi maybe ama directors agijimise why don't you go ukuthi at least sibe lezi mota zinezana kuthengelwe ukuthi bakwanise ukuthi begijime befike ku point A to point B ngoba khathesi as we speak nxa silezi zethu izimota zenezi uthi ngihambe ngiyemthatha nje azovala amanzi uyayala athi angivunyelwa umthetho weCouncil. So let's try something because icommittee leli yikho kuthiwa ngubulawayo nxa singayekeli ukuthi siliphakamisele phezulu silinike ukusebenza kufanana lokuthi uyathatha uba lo maid endlini ufake ihiphi empahla lapha uthi gaziwatshe gala sepha gala uyawathangana sabe yikho sabe sikuyenza lapha ukuthi sithi khona ku councillor secretary icommittee yakho nanku sifuna ukuthi uzosebenza yena gala even imoto eyi1 uyabuya ngani. So let's try something ukuthi at least nxa sizathi sibuya ku director lapha ukuthi khathi indaba ungayenzanga lokho la lokho sikwazi ukuthi imoto sokusebenzisa ulazo ngoba siza lokhu sihlala sibachingela bangela even anything ukuthi bayasebenzana izimota lezana nxa kuthiwa mayor khona lokhu zeni town clerk Sicela nxa ufake izimota qala usikhange ebantwini ngali. Abayibo abenzela ukuthi nxa uthola imali yokuthi lawe uthenga iGD6 at least babe bekwanisa ukuthi emalini yethu yana. Emalini esibhadalayo sebengathenga ngoba thina sihleli kahle. Abantu bakusuwa meya. Ngicela uhambe ubone emalokishini ukuthi kunjani abantu bahlezi insuwa every day. Let's try something. Asincediseni ikomiti ukuthi ibe lezinto zokusebenzisa so that singakhulumi kakhulu. Isicelo sami. Ngiyabonga.
We dealt with item 4. Item 23? 40. A chorus from the corner there. Okay, ladies. Item 14. Yes, ma'am.
Ngiyabonga Nkosi ithuba endiphiwayo. Mina ngisukumele u-item 14 okhuluma ngezemgwaqo. Ngisho ukuthi ngake ngakhuluma futhi ngezemgwaqo phambilini. Ngilesicelo ukuthi njengoba khathesi izulu kalisani sasicela inhlabathi ukuthi izulu liyana iyageleza. Sakubona ukuthi vele iyageleza inhlabathi izulu liyana. Kodwa khathesi izulu kalisani kalisephi izulu. Sicela inhlabathi ukuthi sithele inhlabathi ukuthi imoto zihambe kuhle. Bekule mfa kumakhelwane wami. Imoto ekade ithwele umzimba ibisehluleka ukuhamba. Ukuthi izizofika eyadinga bona ithethe kumbe angazi kumbe ama 45 minutes to 50 minutes ngenxa yemigwaqo. Mina ngisenkulumani kwa 23. Imigwaqo kayisekho. Even umgwaqo ukuhamba utshova. Amaqolo la akasavumi. Nkosi. Nxa imthovu ihamba seqa siphendukela siyahlala phansi futhi ezitulweni. Ngenxa yokuthi umgwaqo isidlile ubaba hayi wena mama. Esikucelayo ukuthi sincedisane. Siyakwazi ukuthi kulobuzima chairperson. Siyakwazi kulobuzima sibili kodwa siyacela ukuthi sincedisane khona okuncane okukhona. Siyefaka khona phana ngoba abadala babe bebuza ukuthi kanti imali yethu amadola ethu e-road levy angaphi. Uswele lokuthi uzaphendula usithini. Ngoba uyabongakwazi ukuthi imali yakho ikhona kumbe kayikho. Esesikucela ukuthi sizame ukuthi sincedise ukwenzela ukuthi imigwaqo ibe right. Okunye okwesibili emfuna ukukhuluma lapha chairperson chairman imgelo yethu legcibelekileyo elamakhavethi avalileyo. Amasoka ahambe nxa ukuthi amakhavethi avalile. Sicela ukuthi ke kuvulwe ukwenzela ukuthi amasuka ayenzeni ageleze ahambe angahlali ebantwini. Ngicela futhi chairperson le committee yakho kumbe lababili nje lihambe lefika ku one way ecar park yabantwana ku one way nxa usuka kumathize phambili ungena usiyale kosekusini. Uyebona ukuthi isuka injani. So kulomfula emgelweni owesuka. Abantu bayehluleka ukuhamba amanzi isuka kayisahamba. Ngiyabonga.
Ngiyabonga Nkosi. Chalimani. Lapho ngizacela ukuhambe ngoKame Road. Uyebona phambi kwakho khonoli usiyafika ezimthathu. Idust eba lapho umgwaqo ngowethara kodwa idust elapho nxa sihamba. Lo drive uyabe engasaboni lokuthi unyathela ngaphi. Sicela like lisikhangelele umgwaqo wethu nalowana weKame Road. Isiqephu sona siyana esincane lasitshiyayo. Hayi sesisithwalise nzima. Siyacela sibili Chalimani ngiyabonga.
Item 15. But sikuplanela amatrip.
Sikuplanela
amatrip zonke. Amvuye bona. Thank you, Your Worship. I want to applaud the department and the committee for the barricades. Yeah, the barricades, the concrete barricades, they resemble us as a city, not the drums that they were using before. So I want to applaud them on that. But at the same time, Your Worship, I want to ask you, Your Worship, this council doesn't have money for everything.
Yes.
When you talk of cars,
no money.
They don't have money. When you talk of
Anything.
Like materials, they don't have money. When you talk of repairs, they don't have money.
What do you?
When you talk of anything in this country,
They have no money.
they don't have money.
What do we
But
have?
they have money for their 4x4s. They have money for their livelihoods. They don't have money for residents. Yet they are earning through those residents. Why I'm saying so, Your Worship? We don't even have paint to put proper road markings.
We have no money.
And when you ask, there is no money or it's a procurement issue, they always have something.
Those
to say.
excuses keep on coming.
Each and every time, there's
Yes.
always something to say. In our previous council, we spoke of our traffic roads to be solarized. There is no money, Your Worship, to solarize those traffic lights. But we are losing lives on a daily basis, especially when the robots in town are not working. We have kids coming from school around peak hours, around 1 up to 5. We have disabled people. We have a whole lot of vulnerable people using those roads when the traffic lights are not working. So I fail to wonder. I fail to understand if this is about money or it's about people coming to work and feeling comfortable because they don't have KPIs. Because at the end of the day,
Performance.
whether we are here till 2030 or we are here till 2028, we go out as a council that has never achieved anything. I repeat, Your Worship. Besides that pond that is outside that you went hard for. That's the only thing that
Our councillors come and go.
The only thing that we can own in this council that we did is that pond that is outside. But everything else we have nothing. And you are going to go. And you can imagine, Your Worship, when you were put as a mayor, people were entrusted in you that
say
you
we have
will
got a white
deliver. You
guy.
are more of a Jesus Christ of
of
Bulawayo. But imagine you are sitting on sewer, you are sitting on damaged roads, you are sitting on roads with no traffic lights, you are sitting on traffic robots that are not working. Your Worship, we went to Maswingo as an audit committee. If you see their robots, you will be shocked. But here we're still living in the Rhodesia, where Cecil John Roads left us. That's where we still are. Yet small cities are making progress. But we have men and women that are always wearing blazers in and out of their offices on a daily basis. And what are they doing?
Zero.
And when we come here, when we're now outside with our residents, we are viewed more of useless people with an ID only. And there is no way you can even tell them that you have a degree because you are not even utilizing it. You are actually useless. So I think the best, Your Worship, maybe after full council, let's call for a special council whereby we list all the items that we have.
True.
Then we attend to them according to priority. Because when we are here, they might think we're doing it for cameras. But we are criticized on a daily basis. We are shouted on a daily basis. And they don't even know that these directors exist. They think it's us councillors.
Let's add them in our resident groups.
Hey.
Yes.
Your Worship, if a councillor asks for water, it's in the media. And you are being shouted, you want water when we don't have water? You want cars when we don't have this? You want this? They don't even know that we are providing our directors with proper stuff. They use 4x4 and we don't have them. But at the end of the day, when we are dragged by the match, they are not there. We are the ones who are now answerable to the So I feel like sometimes they take that as an advantage and use it against us. Because they know we have a term block which is 5 years. After 5 years, a new crop of councillors comes. They are told lies as well because this is a lie. This is a scam.
True.
Being a councillor is a scam.
True.
The biggest scam ever.
That's ngama dealers.
We are viewed as corrupt councillors.
Dealers.
Who got there to do nothing. Yet these people are sitting comfortable enjoying the fruit of us being shouted out.
Yes.
So we have to call for an emergency special council, Your Worship, We list everything that we are failing at. Then we prioritize one by one until by 2028 we are done with at least a quarter of those things that we are crying for. Thank you, Your Worship.
Are we still on 14? Councillor?
On item 14 on road rehabilitation. Sorry?
Let's turn ourselves first off, councillors. Councillor, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Worship. Okay, on last finance meeting, we agreed to verament funds for our road levies so that we purchase capital equipment. So I think all is in order. The equipment is going to be bought and our roads should be rehabilitated. So I think maybe we are putting the cow before the cart, but as it is, Your Worship, we are waiting for that equipment so that when the equipment comes, we are able to then service our roads. Because if we don't have equipment, we won't be able to service those roads. So the funds have been accumulating for over a period of time. And when we had enough funds, the department requested that we then verament funds so that we purchase those vehicles, the much needed yellow equipment that we are all clamoring for. So I want to make it clear and put it on record that the department is doing something, because I'm a finance chairperson. They came with their request to verament those funds, and the funds were veramented. So we look forward that going forward, they are going to be equipped and they are going to do a good job to our roads. Thank you, Worship.
Anything else? Are you on 14, sir? We finished with 14. 16, anyone on 15? No? 16. You have?
Thank you, Your Worship. It's on 16 of the residential stays. I will try to be very short. I would want to applaud the council and the department for, like the councillor said, bringing issue Magogo West extension, Magogo West to finality. I saw the notice today, but I also wanted to say, can also we take also probably the same steps to try and address all the other pending issues, more or less the same way that we've done with the Magogo West issue, so that maybe we, one by one, we try and address all the other issues so that at least there can be some progress on all other projects as a residential stands which are pending. Thank you.
Any further debate?
Move the report.
20?
23.
You have the floor, sir. And 24.
Thank you, Your Worship. Most of these issues to do with item 23 have been raised as the debate was progressing from item 1. Now, my concern, Your Worship, as I was going through this list, which basically tells us the state of our equipment, my concern was that at the moment, our fleet availability is sitting at 59.7%, Your Worship. That on its own puts us in an involuntary relationship with mediocrity. My concern, Your Worship, is that we would expect at the very least to be on 95% fleet availability. Because what this means right now, Your Worship, is that graves will not be dug on time, Your Worship. It means in some instances, there will be no refuse collection. It means sewer blockages, water leaks, and all these reports will take forever, Your Worship, to be attended. This has a huge bearing on our service delivery standards. It means even the response times that we promise to residents cannot be adhered to, Your Worship. And it's tied to one concern that I also have. Why do we prefer to outsource and hire cars instead of repairing our fleet, Your Worship? This report is not exhaustive enough for us to make a decision. We need this report to come with clear indications on how many of those non-runners can actually be repaired and how many of them are too old to be repaired, are actually due to be written off. We need more information on this report, Your Worship, because right now, what I see is a situation where this low rate of fleet availability will be transferred to the procurement management unit, and they will be blamed for not maybe doing the right processes on time so that these cars can be brought back to the road so that they can be in service. But Your Worship, I am sure that we do not need priors to buy routine things, routine sundries like brake pads, brake fluid, and other little things. So in order for us to deal with this report properly, it should not come in this state of ambiguity, Your Worship. We need more information as policymakers so that when we address these issues, we address them to finality. So there is the issue of hiring, Your Worship, versus repairing our fleet. The jury is still out on that one. We need to understand why we prefer to hire instead of repairing our own fleet. I am sure that, Your Worship, if you look at maybe the cost of hiring an excavator, those people bill per hour, and what is the cost of repairing our own excavator? If you go to Umvuchwa Cemetery right now, you'll find there is equipment lying idle. That equipment needs to be repaired, Your Worship, so that we stop going through this process of having to lease equipment from outside in order to render services to our residents. Your Worship, I think this also ties into the issue that was raised months ago by a fellow councillor, that perhaps their intentions may be to let this equipment lie idle so that it will be bought at one of the auctions, Your Worship, and then repaired, and then it will be rehired to council again. So, Your Worship, we are going to be running on the proverbial treadmill, Your Worship, exerting ourselves and sweating, but not getting anywhere, Your Worship. So I think going forward, we need more information when it comes to the transport unit report so that we can be in a clearer picture and we can make better decisions. And I think we also need, Your Worship, to agree on a standard in terms of fleet availability. We cannot have 57% or 59%. That is unacceptable. Total dereliction of responsibility, Your Worship. What we need is 95% as a minimum. Because if the whole city is on 59% fleet availability, what are we saying about the level of service delivered? It means, Your Worship, everything is in a shambolic state. It means we cannot go around the city inspecting illegal developments, Your Worship. It means we cannot do enforcement activities for illegal vending and littering, Your Worship. It means we cannot respond timeously to sewer blockages and leakages, Your Worship. And it means, Your Worship, we are unable to collect refuse on time. And it means in times of crisis where people need bulk water delivered using bowsers, we will not be able to do that, Your Worship. It rises and falls on the transport unit, Your Worship. I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. On the same item, I think I raised it earlier on when I was talking about the cemeteries. Let's do a cost-benefit analysis as a city, Your Worship, to see whether is it better to continue having our workshops, which are not producing anything, rather than outsource a company which will do all the repairs. If we have got a breakdown due to brake pads or a starter, the vehicle is quickly taken there, fixed, and comes back and continue with this work, than having these workshops which are not doing any good to the council. I think the management should sit down and look at it and present it to the council to make a resolution on it, because personally I think it is not assisting us in any way to say let's continue having these workshops where we are fixing our car. We take 2-3 years to source a starter or a brake pad or a wiper for that matter. It doesn't assist us in any way. So my proposal is that let the management sit down and do the cost-benefit analysis to find out if it is proper to continue in this way. But at the end of the day, we are not getting anything positive from these workshops. So my proposal is that let's close them, and we are appointing outsider. We have got big company brands outside there. We flight a tender. One of them wins the tender. We give them the tender to fix all our equipment, all our vehicles. It is not healthy to have the bulk of our vehicles really under standing on stones and bricks. It doesn't assist us. It's not helping at all. But we'll be having workers who will be drawing salaries in those departments as mechanics and charge hands, while at least they are doing nothing. There is no output out of it. Because for any job description, there must be a positive output. There's no positive output from our workshops. I thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. 23, ma'am? 24. Okay, I'll come to you soon. 24.
Your Worship, ngiyabonga. Item 24 khuluma ngamalayithi. Ngizakhuluma kakhulu ngezokuphepha phakathi kukamuzwa koBulawayo. Sinanzelela ukuthi kathesi isizini esesikuyo kuyaphangisa ukuba mnyama. Kodwa ama-tower light ayacitsha, ethi ecitshile ngezizathu ezithizeni, mhlawumbe kutshe iglobe, mhlawumbe kawajuswanga, anga-report lapha report khona. Isikhathi sangikhona esithathwayo ukuthi azolungiswa. Ngibona ngani sisuka siyedlulele, kanti umphakathi wona uyabungasela kuphepha. Singananzelela ukuthi umphakathi wakoBulawayo esikhathini esiningi ayisibo bonke abashayisa ngo4 emsebenzini yabo bengena ezindlini. Abaningi bachayisa late, ama-bus stop, ama-tower lights maya esengasasebenzi. Sidinga ubudlwengu ukuthi buyande. Nga kuyavuma, Your Worship, consent department and u-chairperson kube le ndawo lapho esireporta khona ama-tower light specifically kube lo muntu wakhona. Nxa ekhona kasebenzi. Ngikhuluma ama-tower light ayehlale more than a month. Nxa engasebenzi kahambe ngikhaya. Kube labantwana abazasebenza ngoba abantu bayalimala. Ngama-tower light kuphepha lokho esikhuluma ngakho, ukukhanya. Nxa abadala bengareport ama-tower light ukuthi tower light number 20 eMahachula kalayithi, maybe after 2 or 3 hours ngakuphendule ukuthi hayi tower light lele linje kathesi sishota ngeglobe, kumbeni sisamelele itoken lokuthi selijusa ezesa. So that wonke umuntu abe updated, lawo uyisuse injalo uyihambise ku community. Umuntu lo usebenza ukwenzani nxa ekhona? Ngoba nxa ekhona into enjengama globe ukuthi kumele ehlale stockile. Engastoka ama-globe, astoke ama-token, then ebese senza nokunye nxa sesireport ama-tower lights wazihlalela. Ngiyabonga, Your Worship.
On the same issue ya public lighting, Your Worship. Mina ngiyaqala ngokuthi umsebenzi we-worship umsebenzi wonke ufuna ukuthi uwenze lotaka. Ngabona usungani usuforce ukusebenza sokule problem. Ifuna udokotela athina usuhlaba abanye ama-patients amajekiseni angasiyo. Because it's not even passion. I really doubt if the people who work under the department in public lighting have got all our etati. You know why I'm saying this, Worship? We have got tower lights. You would understand there are some tower lights which were vandalized. But we've got some tower lights which basically need a globe. and for over 2-3 years we have utshela ukuthi procurement. Are we sure ukuthi in 2 years time asikakwanisa ukuthi sithole chance ukuthi siyothenga amabhawudu? Just amabhawudu ukuthi abuya ukuthi laphana abantu bahlala eminyameni beze befe begwazwe just because we are failing to buy amabhawudu. Abanye mina ngaze ngabatshela ngathi sitshela nini phela zama residents ukuthi ayimali sizithenge lengcisi libize libuye lizokhitha. And also there's a tendency worship, I don't know whether it's deliberate or what, there's a tendency ukuthi whenever they come sometimes bayafika bafitha amabhawudu azalayita for 3 months ubone sokuchithile futhi uzosotha sokuchila. Why are we buying substandard things when we are using imali engasweki? Imali yama-residents siyo sesiyathenga into zama-China ezizakuthi after 3 months. After 3 months okulo msebenzi again wokuthi ubaphendukise ukuthi bazo-attend the same problem. So your worship, we have got problems sometimes which are being caused by into zonalezi zabo procurement. But we also have amanye problems which are also being caused by our workers that we have in this local authority, which should be addressed. We cannot have one problem over and over again. Amatower lights lawa akula nto complicated laphana ukuthi every time sokumele sikhuluma ngawo every time. Siyehleka ama-sewer, siyehleka ama-roads, siyehleka ama-tower lights, siyehleka yonke into. Amabhawudu siyehleka ama-bhawudu. Okunye kwakhona kuyachaza ukuthi kubuya sokuyisabotage, kubuya kumele kukhanye nje ukuthi we've got a big problem. Okunye kwakhona singelapho. Let's learn, like she's saying, these things should be stopped in bulk. You know to be after maybe 2-3 years. Why should you always wait to have procurement? You tell them about procurement every time. Your worship, these things are not okay.
What? You have the floor.
When the country park, we managed to repair all the existing tower lights at country park. Kodwa bese ngisiba lo mbuzo kuChalimane ngapho weCommittee uChalimane weCommittee le department yakuthi what are your plans public lighting kundawo the rest of country park lezinye indawo ezinjabo kuphela ndaba ezingela ama tower lights nyabo.
Anything else on 24? Any other debate? No, I just want to respond briefly. I want to make a general remark. I see that the town clerk is in now. He's not taken the chair, but I'm sure he's been listening. The theme of this meeting so far has been a sustained attack on management. And there's a proposal that has come that we have a special council meeting, which I listened to carefully. I'm not sure that that will do the trick. What we have established is our meeting of chairs. And clearly what has arisen, not just on Annexure C, but as I say, the theme throughout this evening has been the sustained attack. I would urge councillors to write what issues you believe need to be addressed, the main issues, so that we can try and convene some sort of meeting, whether it's a special council meeting or not. I'm not sure that that's the right structure for a sort of open, transparent meeting, but closed to everyone else, where we can thrash these issues out. So that's number one. Number two, and I'm not going to address all the issues because we don't have time, but the issue regarding Bowsers. If you look at the transport report, it says that we have got 4 Bowsers functioning, but clearly they are insufficient. There's a specific proposal that has come up regarding the ward retention, and I would urge councillors to review your own ward retention proposals and perhaps link up with other councillors in neighbouring wards to see whether you can reallocate some of your ward retention so that we get bouses which are allocated to regions. That would make sense. That we agree, we resolve that we're going to buy bouses that will be allocated to 3 or 4 wards, and then those bouses are located in those wards so that we don't have a situation arising, because people need water. And if they don't have boreholes and water isn't supplied, that's a major problem. The third issue I wanted to raise, we mentioned Magwegwe West, and the question was raised regarding other stands. We did have a very successful meeting on Monday afternoon with the residents of Magwegwe West. The chair wrote to me, and I asked the town clerk to convene a meeting, and we had a meeting with the Magwegwe West residents. With the arbitration award going in our favour, that has now opened up the possibility, and a timetable was presented to residents of Magwegwe West for the completion of the water, the sewerage, and whatever we can do with roads. We have a major problem in Magwegwe West and in the other areas where people are being asked to pay top-ups, which was beyond our control, beyond the residents' control, but it's a major financial bar to particularly roads being completed. But your point is taken. We need to go beyond Magwegwe West, and I implore councillors, if you have these stands in your particular areas, please come and raise them so that we can try and address that again. The final point, in answer to Councillor Moyo, who raised the issue, thank you, sir, for drawing our attention to the vehicle, and the Deputy Mayor addressed that issue regarding the servicing of our vehicles. I'm not convinced that it is the right thing to outsource, but we certainly are not qualified in this meeting to make that decision. It needs to be a considered decision. But I go back to the point I made earlier, that we have an offer from a large Zimbabwean company with a massive fleet of vehicles, which has agreed to come in and assist us for free, no charge, to come and look at our entire fleet and to give us advice, given their experience, their extensive experience in running a huge fleet, to advise us on which of our equipment should be disposed of, which cannot be economically repaired, and which should be repaired and retained. And I hope that the Director of Works and Engineer Ngube will facilitate that and report back to the committee so that we get the benefit of that experience in arriving at this decision. But with those words, Chair, would you like to respond?
Thank you, Your Worship. Colleagues, most of your concerns have been noted, but I have a few points to highlight. With regards to water, we are yet to complete a number of contracts, namely the Inyankuni pump station contract is in progress now. We have 2 contracts to repair and improve pumping capacity at Imema, and it's also work in progress. As much as we have 65% of our dams full, colleagues, but scientists warn us of an El Nino drought ahead. So as scientists, as engineers, we have to be forward thinking, because it doesn't help us for us to open water for you to get water 24/7. Then the next year, you won't be getting that water 24/7. Maybe you'll be getting it once or twice a week. So it's for your own good that we are continuing with this shedding, though we have reduced it a little bit from about, is it 130 hours to 72 hours, if I'm not mistaken. Then one councillor spoke about what if since we don't have enough vehicles, what if I can use my own vehicle to say, call for a plumber? It's not in the council policy that we should use our own vehicles, because maybe in case of an accident, colleagues, that council employee may not be covered by insurance. I'm done with water. Then on works, we used to stock local colleagues, parts, yellow machines and stuff like that. Buy in bulk, but due to budgetary constraints, your colleagues, we are not able to do that.
Wow.
Then on road markings, on road markings, we recently received materials and emalanga and ndizabona sespenda imigwaqo la sicwebezele sikhanya kahle. Then on plant hire, this is just a stopgap measure. While at least we await why listen? Your worship, may you protect me, please? Thank you. Why are we hiring equipment, Your Worship? This is just a stopgap measure. Why at least we wait for purchases which have to go through EGP system or government, which at times takes longer, Your Worship. Thank you, colleagues.
Chair of Townlands, please.
Thank you, Worship. I move that the report of the Townlands and Planning Committee meeting held on the 14th of July 2026 is submitted, you received, and the various recommendations contained therein be adopted.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder?
Seconder.
Thank you. Is there any debate?
Move.
What item, ma'am?
Item 37.
37?
Item 32.
32?
14.
14? No one else before 14? You have the floor, ma'am.
Ngiyabonga, Your Worship. Kangiqale ngokuthi ikomiti le iyasebenza gadalala. Kodwa ke ngingahlali kulele komiti lami ngikhethiwe koBulawayo ngomunye wama councillors. Ngifisa ukufaka umbono wami ngendlela esingahlela ngayo uBulawayo. Mhlawumbe singancedisana. Item 14 no 15 bahambelana, Your Worship. Ngilombuzo nje ngizawubuza ngesikhiwa bengubhalile kwenze ukuthi kungabe nzima. Is it not possible to have a one-stop shop? Ngikhulumelana, Your Worship. Ngikhulumela imshasha leyi esesiyichaya eyama bus terminals. Yiwe ngikhulumela ukuthi kulo bus le kuthiwa impala kuthiwa ngoba ocela indawo yokufaka nango omunye la othenga uzvikobhombe kuthiwa ngoba ucele indawo yokuthi la yasebenzele. Nxa umavako la yenza okufanana lo Nsewula yenza okufana nayo lo Ajayi yenza okufana nayo. Kambe idolobho lethu lizabukeka yini? Ngiyenzela mina lawo, Your Worship, nxa sesithe saphuma ngalwana mnyaka sesikhombela ukuthi yithi esayenza laphana. Kubuhlungu ukukhombela ukuthi yimi engayenza imishasha yonke leyana isiphenduka futhi ikuhawunta wena uyabusa ku community. Ngithi Your Worship, ngithi silidolobho. Kuhle ukukopa, kwesikhathi uyakopa into yakho imodify ibenhle. Kwesikhathi uyikope ikwehlule kodwa ungazama kahle uzakwanisa. Ngilesifiso sokuthi ikomiti liyavakatshela ePaus eJohannesburg. Yisifiso sami ukuthi ba understand ukuthi how South Africa
came up with that powerhouse where they assemble amabuses aphandle kwelizwe labo. Nga kuyavuma your worship ukuthi lathi sibe le renki eyodwa for amabhasi ayaphandle kwelizwe. Njengalokho elikwenza amabhasi ekheze lwakuthanisa ndawonye lawe eGwanda. Erenkini endala. Lithatha amanya echolocho lawe eNkayi la liyakuthanisa wandawo. Kanti indaba lawo lingabachayelanga imshasha. Ngifisa ukuthi ngaba baku one indawo. Sisenzelani kuyasisiza also create jobs there. Indawo mayincane. Nqabe hleze endaweni eyi1. Kusize futhi lawo yo worship uma usiyadinga ibhasi uSwiss. Uthole segcwele kusimple ukuthi usuke eofisini kaSwiss lapha ushiftwe kuimperial. Senzela ama residents ethu izakhamizi ezasiletha la ukuthi kube lula ayikhona aqale ngoSwiss ku6 Avenue athole segcwele awokhe aye ku12 Avenue aye kuimperial. Uthi Delta lapha akuhambeki khona ngitsho ngezikhathi zakhe zika2. Kabe kugcwele impahla abantu yonke into nje ipavement liyana ayisasebenzeki ngoba bathwalele emgwaqweni ithe sabanika. Isifiso sami ukuthi sibe le one indawo yamabhasi aya out of the country. Kube irenki eyi1. Ama vendors ethu la esithona sibagijimisa nganabantu bakamlimi ngaze balimali. Bayakwanisa ukuyathola indawo bethengise kwampana ngoba kayso kulabantu abaningi. Sesicreator imisebenzi yo worship. Yo umbono wami okhona ngisala ukuthi sibanike nini umsibachayele nini umshasha abantu la. Asekele nini into zokuchaya umshasha. Asibeni smart. Ngiyabonga.
Smart is
Are you on the same topic?
Yeah.
Please.
Hayi, ngisukumele ukuthi ngithi mina umbono wekansela uzo umbono oqondileyo kakhulu for idolobha. Imishasha singahamba sivula imishasha everywhere. We are not doing a good cause for the city. We constructed George Slundik. It's supposed to look nice, but all our efforts kazisakhanyi. Sesicreatele ukuthi ibe terminus. And as councillors sinxa singavuma futhi ukuthi kawukambe kwevulo okunye laphanye kunye laphana kunye laphana. Siyagcina lokho esitshona sikukhuluma lapha ukuthi asibele le smart city ungaseko. So I propose ukuthi this item kayibuyele back ingadluli bezama ukuthi bekhangele kuhle sikhiphi item le ingabi wonke oyi2 vele kabuyele emuva icommittee ehlala kuhle phansi yes item le kayiphume le ibuyele back yes behlala phansi becubungulwe kahle.
Thank you. Can I get a sense? Is that broadly supported?
Yes. Unanimous.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'm 100% supporting of that. Uyazi ukuthi nyake ngihlale ngizibuze mina. Ngikhuluma ngikhayile report la kwenzakala koBulawayo lapha. Ukuthi namhlanje amadoda la nxa engavuka emathuneni ebona ukuthi idorobha selingaphi ona isolo kutshe ekhaya. The first black mayor or Innocent Mdlovu or Nicholas Mapoto bebona ukuthi idorobha leli selingaphi abengamangala ngoba some of the things which are happening here siyazibuza ukuthi honestly I don't know what is happening in this council. Honestly, Mayor, we have totally lost it. Your worship. You know, your worship, when we took oath of office, I was your deputy mayor. And you spoke so eloquently about your vision, which you have, where you want to take this city. I'm glad the councillor has reminded you that what we have to show is this pond, which is outside here. And this marauding, sprouting bus terminus. What happened to the proposal, which ones came that we want to turn Egodini, not Egodini, the other Renkin, into a state of art? What happened? What happened? You see, even we don't know what is happening. Honestly, Mayor, let's evaluate ourselves. Let's introspect as policymakers. The management, are we really serious about this city or we are joking? Or all of us, I repeat, if this thing continues, Mayor, by December, let's resign. We will resign with the honor and dignity.
Disengage.
We disengage, not disengage, we resign.
Okay, let's continue. We'll come back to this item. Sir, do you want to contribute to this?
Item 30.
No. Order. We will come back. We've got a proposer and a seconder, and it seems as if there's a broad consensus, unless you object, that this be referred back to the committee. Is that right?
No, I have to speak first.
No, I understand. I'll give you a chance to speak, but I just want to get the sense, before we go on to another item, that is the sense of the House. Okay, thank you. I will give you an opportunity, sir.
Thank you.
What item, sir?
32.
Is there anyone before 32? You've got the floor.
Thank you, Your Worship. I want to appreciate the seriousness in the room today.
Yeah.
Because
Thank you.
unlike in the past where people just said move to every item, we need to speak to issues with the seriousness that we are doing today. Your Worship, maybe a little bit to the contrary of your observation about the prevailing theme, there is a silver lining on the item which I want to speak to. It's not all gloom and doom. There is a development that has happened close to the intersection of Masia Pambili and Cameron. I'm talking here under Town Planning Department, specifically looking at the implementation of council resolutions. We have a vegetable market that has been put up, which has been completed. I stand to be corrected. I may be wrong, but I believe it has been completed. The request here being to request this council to approve the business case proposal of that Bulumane fresh farm fruit vegetable market. Because I believe that we are sitting on potential revenue, which is not being tapped there. That was, in my opinion, one of the biggest game changers for the city, especially when we look at an ISO.
Councillor, I hate to interject, but you said
Yes.
it's on 32.
Yes. Yes, I am. Yes, it's talking about implementation of resolution. Yes. Which I'm requesting the department to actually put into practice, to implement, because since the market has been approved, we need them, the market has been built, I meant to say. We need this department to actually implement the resolution, to actually put it into effect, to put it into practice. Yes, why? Because we are looking at another thorny issue, another ugly site, which is in the CPD here, where you have got trucks all over town, trucks in almost all the streets, selling across parking bays and in the middle of the streets. So the implementation of that resolution part comes in to say, if we can operationalize that marketplace, it means to say all these trucks that are giving us a headache, it has to be a policy matter that they have to relocate. And this then also speaks to the security enforcement aspect. They have to relocate all of them. I believe we are going to have sanity and order in the city, because this is the problem. Yes, with the impending arresting powers that are coming, of course, we don't know when they are going to be put into effect. Yes, we have these municipal courts.
Yes.
But all I'm saying is, can we operationalize the Kulumane fruit and vegetable market and make sure that all these trackers that are, I'm sure even Chamber Sec has given us reports of how much of a hassle it is to be chasing this cat and mouse game that is in town. So we are requesting this implementation of this resolution to say, let's put it in place. Let's make sure that all the trackers are relocated so that we decongest the CPT and restore sanity and order. Thank you.
On that item?
No.
What item, ma'am?
37.
37. Anyone before 37? Okay, you've got the floor, ma'am.
Your Worship, I'm not taking anything away from this application, but I feel like we're not doing justice to the people of Luveve. The famous bar called Samrio, if I'm not mistaken, it's around the same place where this person is asking for permission to establish a nightclub. Their report is well written, Your Worship. Everything is considered in the process. But how do we have an issue of enforcement as it stands in this council? And these people, they are telling us that they will comply to everything, yet you are failing to even enforce on some Your Worship. We have an issue of drugs nationally that we are failing to control. And here we are, where there is a bar, we want to put another bar. Why singacabangela abantu beLuveve ngomsindo wamabha wangu-2 endaweni eyi-1? Why singabacabangeli kodwa on a serious note? Already there is msindo at Samring. There is another, we want to establish another nightclub. There is another msindo there. And we are trying by all means as a national, as a nation, to actually try to minimize the use of drugs and stuff. There is no way you can not link a nightclub to a usage of drugs, Your Worship. There is no way. That one I guarantee you, whether they will put a banner saying no under 18, no drugs, it's just a banner which is meant to be read by a person who can read. And most of our people, not that I'm insulting them, we have our young people that are not going to school because of drugs. They won't even be able to read the no to drugs thing on that nightclub. So why singabacabangela abantu beLuveve sike simo okwento kwama nightclub and try siqale sibone enforcement yangikhona ukuthi iyasebenza yini kuSamriwo yena ngokwakhe. We have not heard anything. A lot goes on there. And nothing have ever been reported. We have never been told that council went there and discovered or tried to enforce ANPCT. Then we want to burden ourselves with another nightclub in the same area. It doesn't make sense to me, Your Worship. Thank you so much.
It doesn't.
Yes, I'm just supporting you. I'm seconding you.
Are you doing the same, sir?
Yeah. I'm buying that application.
Thank you, Worship.
I'll come to you.
I'm seconding here, but I also wish to get something, Your Worship. Firstly, I would like to applaud the committee for not granting a similar item in my ward to someone who had wanted to apply for a sports bar, Your Worship. In this day and age, Your Worship, where we are encouraging our youth, Your Worship, to desist from drugs and substance abuse, Your Worship, we cannot be seen as the city fathers, Your Worship, approving sports bars, Your Worship, and the nightclubs, Your Worship, which are in their nature, Your Worship, breeding places for such activities which we do not wish to for our children, which we do not condone on our children, Your Worship. So I would like to make a special request to the committee to consider even stopping issuing licenses to nightclubs and sports bars until at such a point whereby maybe our people, our young children, Your Worship, they are mature enough to know what they want in life, Your Worship. Thank you.
You've got the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, for the opportunity to speak on this item. Whilst I partly agree with my colleagues who have spoken prior to me, I think we must congratulate the committee for doing the right thing. Your Worship, in the spirit of promoting the township economy, it is proper that we have this kind of establishments in Western suburbs. It cannot be, Your Worship, that in Nansuya Scotland Pompin, I have to find nightclub a town to pay. It cannot be, Your Worship, that abantu Bulawayo can only find the economic activity in the CPT. We need to promote the township economy. And Your Worship, you will know that this is for the first time that this whole committee, the town planning committee, unanimously agreed to grant this particular establishment a license. Most of, Your Worship, the ward councillor of the area consented to this application. In her own words, the ward councillor is quoted there in that report as saying that as the people of Luveve, they are happy about that establishment. So who are we? Who are we? So who are we to expose? Who are we? Who are we can call it? Who are we? Is who? So no, I don't mean to continue. I don't know what to say. So who are we as council to second guess a ward councillor? Your Worship, you recall that last month the councillor of Omakwekwe opposed the application in his own ward. It was correct. We supported it. This time around, we have got a councillor who is saying, I like this nightclub. This nightclub is good for the people of Luveve. And we are here opposing that application. I think someone is raising the issue of drugs. Drugs are everywhere. Whether you go to smoke, okay, not smokehouse, but whether you go to any nightclub, there are people who are peddling drugs outside each and every nightclub. So it cannot be that abantu bayathengisa ama-drug eLuveve kuphela. Whether iclub esetown, kumbe esePadonest, kumbe eseMontgomery, kumbe eMontrose, abantu will always pick ama-drugs. So all these izinto, we are always complaining ukuthi this city is not going forward, this city is not progressing. There is a progressive proposal which is before us today, and we find it fit ukuthi city oppose that proposal. So Your Worship, I think that I support wholeheartedly this proposal. Can I be protected, Your Worship? Order. Can I be protected, Your Worship? Order. No. Put your hand down. Okay, can I be protected? Most of, Your Worship, the multiplier effect, if you go to Gumira, we have been talking about decongesting the CPT. If you go to Gumira, the whole Luveve area, the kind of multiplier effect from these establishments, they are too much. Some councillors, they are pirating amount of it from Gumira, going to different areas. You look at, Your Worship, I think that in the spirit of progressive Doropo, Sisia Pambili, I support the recommendation by the council, this council committee to support a license day. Thank you very much.
Same item. Councillor Mabeza, please respect the right of speakers to speak.
Siyabonga, Your Worship, siyabonga councillor for isikhiwo esiningi lesi. Enzavumelana laye ngokuthi kuqhakathekile ukumodernize izinto ngendlela leyo. But ngizasuggesta mina ukuthi instead of giving these ones a license, abantu beLuveve probably they want that facility, but geographically position could be affecting our residents, right? Or how about suggesting let's open up town planning ikhangele a suitable space closer to the residency ezeLuveve, kodwa okungadisturb i-community. Community. Lalela. So mina i-license leyo ngayiyime abe planning becabange kahle. Ngayiyime abe planning becabange kahle. Likambe lapho kuthandwa ngoba uCouncillor uNdlovu nje lekhangela ukuthi akule space eduze recommend some other new investors bebe bezisifakela izinto ezinhle endaweni esuitable because ngochigumira lapha esikhuluma ngakho it's just congested and ama residents lapana kabasela peace and continuing say approve ezinye izinto lapana we are doing injustice to the residents, but let's bring in new ideas. So i department yona leyo town planning yiyo elomlando to think kahle uthi izinto zenezo abazirecommendayo zibe khona in the community but ngendlela engahlukuluze abanye I community.
Ngiyabonga Nkosi. Thank you very much, Your Worship. Hey, ezogida lezi. Nkosi, Your Worship, I want to refer to some yesteryears. Kudala amabhawa ayelezikhathi ayevula ngazo lokuvala ngazo. I-bottle store, ongasoze uthola i-bottle store evulile ekuseni. We were young by then. You see, there was some semblance of order by then. What I have seen is that we give these guys development permit and give these conditions which are strict, but we don't enforce them. That is where the problem is. You see, if we were really enforcing what is contained in the, honestly, all these illegalities which we are speaking about won't be. I'm glad, maybe it was a rumor or it's called that you have been granted some arresting powers. Is that correct? The Chamber Secretary is saying. You see, so what we need to do, Your Worship, is that when we grant such kind of permits, let's be strict on what we would have crafted on the document to accede to their request, and make sure that it's what is followed to the dot. Why I am in support of this, Your Worship, is that the precedent has already been set. Yes. Esiwenze koskoto la kodwa vasinjani we don't, yeah, or else Worship, yeah, that is even the courts operate with the precedents. You complete. Right. So that is what I'm saying, Your Worship. Let's make sure that we are very strict on the conditions which we set for these people, and have these inspectors. The problem which we have are these guys whom we send to inspect whether these guys are complying and receive what money. You see.
You cannot talk of the presidency, which favors one side while it's ignoring the other side.
What's your point of order, sir?
Councillor,
what's your point of order?
No, you say a president has been I may not know the rule, but my point.
I'll give you a chance to speak. Sit down. Carry on.
No further submission, Your Worship.
Have you finished? Yes, Ma'am, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you very much, Your Worship. I want to cement on indaba ye name shaming. It's so wrong for us as councillors to really blame this organization, Efagama, and we blanket it to say we are stopping the list because we think they are going to sell drugs. That's so wrong coming from us city mothers and city fathers. And besides that, it is an industry on its own, and it creates employment, especially to abantwana bethu Bulawayo.
Yes.
So if we gave other people the same permit? What's stopping us from giving them the same permit? And like what Melissa earlier, that we need to enforce implementation rules and regulations for how these places are run. But saying we are stopping them because we think drugs and everything are sold there, I don't think it's correct. So
Can I be protected, Your Worship?
Councillor Mabutu. Please, you are a senior councillor. You're meant to lead by example. If we want to be here until breakfast, we can continue like this. But please, let's just respect the speaker. You've got the floor.
Ngiyabonga, Your Worship, for protection from my fellow councillors. Party, Bulawayo sikhala ngama-development. I think sike sahamba endaweni eziningi ezi-councillors. Siyaze sahamba eKariba saswela indawo ukuthi sesivela ku-workshop singayabhejisa ngapha. Sihambe eMasingo saya kwenye indawo eselokitshini enjengendawo kaSamriwo. Indawo le ekhulunywayo lapha ebhalwe la. Indawo leyana indawo okukhulunywa ngumay fellow councillor employment abantu abaqhatshwe lapha labantwana ngabesigaba ka-import akula muntu ovela eGurube bakho kumbe umuntu ovela out of Bulawayo. Abantu abaningi abakhona phana lama residents they are happy. Why? Indawo leyana i-offer even in neighborhood yathenga izimota for ama neighborhood ama residents each and every month they get ama groceries more than 4,500 every month. They get ama hampers kona pana. Siyakwazi baningi abantu asebekhulile ngamalokitshi amadala abantu sebekhulile labana. Balabazukulu babo, they are getting employment, they are getting hampers, they get protection at night. Recently, transformer magesi bingekho, that place supplied a new transformer for electricity. Hello elected MP, but Yena is not someone, he's just a business person. Can I be protected, Your Worship?
Yes, sir. And in case you accuse me of being a sexist, I have brought Councillor Mabutu to order. Please, ma'am, please listen to me, please. I have brought Councillor Mabutu to order. He respected it. Please respect the chair. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. So, ngibe city indawo leyo into it's like a tourist attraction here now. Singayikhangela leyani indawo ngendlela eyiyo yona. Bulawayo, I think is the best, not in Zimbabwe. Is the best. Ungaye South Africa indawo lana silinganisa indawo zabo Santini. So, we city Bulawayo yiyo enye into esiyabe especially sesivela ku Highlanders. Yiyo into esise eyabe siyabhejisa kiyo ngoba singeke wonke umuntu thina ama supporters eHighlanders sihlala kakhulu ngapha emalokitshini. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you. Do we have any further debate? No, we're not moving. Right, before I call on you, Chair, I want to contribute to this. Councillor Mabeza, I actually have great sympathy for your position. And the concerns raised by Councillor Mabutu are true. What you don't know, councillors, is that in the course of the last 2 months, I have been approached by, and I'm giving this as an example, the management of Rainbow Hotel approached me because the Rainbow has a nightclub right next to it. They have the presidential suite in the Rainbow Hotel, And they've had huge problems in the Rainbow because although this nightclub has a liquor license that compels it to stop at 11 o'clock at night, it continues through to 1, 2 a.m. And when they report to the police come and then they go away and the music continues. So we have a major, this is our first major problem. We can agree to this, but we do not have the power to enforce effectively these conditions, particularly when it comes to liquor licenses. And we need to bear that in mind. It is a valid concern. It is also a valid concern that we have a major drug and alcohol problem in our city. We cannot discount that. So those comments need to be taken seriously by all of us. I have another issue. The town clerk knows about this issue, where we are taking council-owned properties and allowing nightclubs to be set up. The City Bowling Club here, Chair. The Zimbabwe Rugby Academy wanted to set up a rugby academy at the City Bowling Club, but we allocated it to someone to set up another nightclub. It's incomprehensible to me that we as city fathers can be acting in this way. Does this mean that we have prohibition like America in the 1930s? No, of course not. Of course not. Does this mean that we stifle investment in Luveve? Of course not. There has to be balance. My concern listening to this whole debate, and I want to commend councillors today. This is what council is all about, the way we've conducted things tonight. Seriously, where we scrutinize carefully and we argue coherently on both sides. That's what residents expect of us. So, as I've listened to this debate, there are compelling arguments on both sides. There are. When I want you to all look at the map where this is going to be located. Do you see that there's an old age home almost right next door? Has that old age, seriously, has that old age home been consulted? Have we consulted the residents widely? Have we conducted a poll in that area? Do we not have an... So I'm not, Councillor Ndlovu, I'm not arguing against you necessarily. I understand the commercial motivation. I hear what you're saying, sir, as well. But we have an obligation to residents to take the full picture in, and I don't see anything in this report that says there's been widespread consultation with the old age home and residents in the area. Has there been? I don't know. And sorry, but can I just finish, please? And if there has not been, I'm not saying that we reject it, but perhaps we need to go back and see that there is that consensus before we vote on it. Is it not premature to be voting on this? Those are my comments.
Maybe, Sister, I'm also the member of the committee, Worship.
Yes.
Before my April chair and his deputy response, I would also want to respond. This issue was brought to us. This is not a new establishment. It has been there for the past 3 years. And the voluntary...
As a restaurant?
As a club, as it were. And we have been operating there for the past 3 years. We have been doing nothing.
Illegally?
We have been doing nothing. And finally, it came to council saying, guys, I want to regularize this under your conditions. I want to do ABCD to cater for this, do ABCD to cater for that, ABCD to cater for that. Then we said, yes, on that condition, on that basis, we should allow him to continue because he's already operated. So even if we say, no, let's stop, there is nothing we're going to do. That is a huge and a good investment which we think is right for the city. As a committee, we thought it was proper on condition that it also abide by the rules and regulations of the city.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Chair, before I come to you, Chair. Councillors, please. Councillors, do you want to resolve this issue?
Yes.
Right. There's obviously strong opinions on both sides.
Yes.
Right. I don't think we can adequately resolve this by further debate.
Yes.
There is a proposal from Councillor Mabeza. I think it has been seconded.
Yes.
I think we are going to have to divide the House on this issue. Okay? Can we just... Sorry. Yeah. So councillors, let's just be clear on what we're voting about. Councillor Mabeza, did you hear what I said? That my suggestion was that we refer the committee back to do a poll.
Yes.
So I think that that's what we're going to vote on. We're going to either vote on that or we approve it.
Let's approve.
So Councillor Mabeza, supported by Councillor Kumalo, has proposed that this go back to the community for a poll to be conducted. Those in favour of that, raise your right hand. Those who are against it. Sorry, just for the sake of order, those who are in favour of the committee's recommendation, raise your right hand.
Yes.
One hand, Councillor Ndlovu.
It's anonymous.
It's not unanimous, but... Okay. So, a majority have supported the... Please reply. Please give the chair the floor.
Item 14 and 15, Councillor Ndlovu. Sathi NRZ sifuna ukufaka khona amabhasi country to country. Yikho kuyafaka khona amabhasi angithi. And then irekindayo sifuna ukuyitshintsha uguqula la enjani ibe kunjani country to country la angithi. And then le godini lakho. Kanti I don't know why my councillors kata libali izinto zona likwazi kuyabe uhamba njani. Hawu 14 to 15, asa 14 to 15. Akafiki ngapi. Isasa 14 to 15. Item 14 15. Hayi umshasha lona is temporary lokwa. Kuyadlula temporary measure kuyadlula lokwa. Angithi. Chairman ungasasithulule. All right. Lapha zabulitshela phela ukuthi kule NRZ sasakhuluma ngayo yadlula khona. Angithi irenkini yadlula khona, igodini yadlula khona ukuthi kaba le country to country. Kanti libala libuyele emuva njani? Hayi. Ma councillors. And then vegetable market ministry, we are waiting for ministry to give us a go ahead. We will do that, no problem. And then lokwana kunye siyabonga kakhulu bantu bakithi. Thank you, your worship.
Can we move that report?
Move.
Chair of Future Water, Madam. Councillors, please, order.
That the report of the Future Water Supply and Water Action Committee meeting held on the 20th September, so 20th of July 2026 is submitted, we received the various recommendations be articulated.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder?
Seconded.
Is there any debate?
Move the report.
No one wishes to contribute.
Move.
That report is moved.
Thank you.
I move the report of the General Purposes Committee meeting held on Monday, the 20th of July, 2026. Is there a seconder?
Seconded.
Is there any debate?
Move.
No debate.
Chair of Finance.
I move that the report of the Finance and Development Committee meeting held on the 21st of July 2026 as submitted be received and the various recommendations contained therein be adopted.
Is there any debate?
Move.
Item 13.
13, sir. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I'm a little bit disappointed with the credit control office under the finance department. They recently tried to engage residents that owe the city of Bulawayo bills. So I'm disappointed that when the residents are trying to approach the office in an attempt to make payment plans, they are turned away. This week, I've attended to about 5 residents who had approached council offices for making a payment plan, but the officers turned them back for various reasons, of which I don't understand why. Because if someone is coming with the little that he has and is attempting to clear the debt voluntarily, why are we turning back the resident? I was saying 3 of those residents that I attended to, they were carrying each $100 to clear the bills. I was saying out of the money that is owed to us as to council by residents, is there a certain amount that you need for that person to be able to make a payment plan? I don't know, maybe which person has noticed, but I don't think it's appropriate what is being done. If a resident is saying, I'm willing to pay, I am struggling here and there, can you please try to be a listening council? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sir, what item?
Same item.
Same item?
Same item, yeah. Thank you, Councillor Mhla. Esikwenzayo kwesinye isikhathi we shoot ourselves. I think ni supporter into ekhulunywa ngubaba uCouncillor my colleague. Asivumeni ukuthi abantu imali ababelayo siyithathe, because ungayithathi imali leyo akulanto esiyabe siyenzile, because the same people bona labo singayekela ukuthatha imali, what they simply do, they go back and vandalize. Ngoba siyabe sesibavalele amanzi kwesinye isikhathi, they go back vandalize, bethatha amanzi ngesystem engayisile, then sibe lama cost amanzi elahleka. But I think if umuntu angabuya ezi committee ukuthi I will pay $100 every month, let's not avoid umuntu nalo sithi buyela, because let's go at say 500, so you must pay half of that amount, so that ukuthi sikuvumeze ukuthi ukwanise ukunatha amanzi. Akula logic, because akula nto esiyabe siyenzi. I-cost yakhona lelani imali esizama ukuyi-recover siyayiluza kuma-cost sokule vandalism. So it's better to collect that money and emphasize ukuthi umuntu ebe le consistent way of paying that money, abe a volunteer ukuthi uzayiletha, than to say we don't want that money. Ngapha sikhiphe futhi amanye ama-statements ukuthi residents are owing us so much, but at the same time sithi hayi kuyelani le mali yethu. Akula logic. So I suggest ukuthi let's take any money where the residents and enforce on be consistent. Thank you.
Thank you. On the same item, sir.
No, Councillor Mhlanga lapha. i-finance department iye balama consultation kuma-awards lapha, and they were encouraging abantu ukuthi they must come up benze ama-payment plan babhadale mbijana mbijana. But umbuzo wami omunye osisiba khona ukuthi umuntu uyahamba esifuna ukuyabhadala imali yakhe nale encanelayo uzosho kuthiwa qala uye ku-council uyebhalela incwadi. Why ufuza umuntu lani qale uye kimi first lina kodwa lifuna imali as council? Ngapha nxa libuya kuma-consultation meetings lithi abantu ababuye 40 bazowenza ama-payment plan. Why libhodisa abantu kanti kulo ukuthi lithatha imali yona le enlutshwana abalayo beyenza i-payment plan lathi at least kuyasinceda u-increase amalokuzena ama-collections ethu ne-revenue yethu as council. Umbuzo wami lawo che ukuthi ngicela umphendule khona lapho chairperson likwenza njani khonokho?
Any further debate? Chair, would you respond, please?
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Thank you, colleagues, for those contributions. Firstly, I would like to say we don't condone vandalism of any infrastructure by our residents, be in whatever circumstances that we find ourselves in or they find themselves in. Vandalism is a crime. So let's discourage them from vandalizing our infrastructure. We struggle as council to maintain that infrastructure once it's vandalized. Then secondly, I take note of your contributions concerning the payment plans. I think as finance, we should move with speed to make sure that we align our policies with your contributions. Even the government of late, you have seen a lot of bills that are being passed, even recently, the municipality police bill and the municipality courts bill. So they are trying to align with the modern trends. So as finance, I think we are not left out in making sure that these contributions are taken with speed and implemented as our policies. I think maybe it's our policy that was hindering that maybe once someone is issued to a letter of demand, then when they come in, they are supposed to pay a certain percentage. But the contribution is very sound. It will certainly move and make sure that we align with our policies, that maybe they can then pay anything towards their bills and make sure that then they adhere to their payment plan instead of just having a fixed percentage, which is no longer obtaining with our current situation. Thank you very much.
Can we move that? Move. Are there any notices of leave? Any notices of leave? No notices. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.